Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to the Porsche Club of Great Britain's Sim Racing Championship, rounds 11 and 12 from Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, one of the very finest circuits in the world and the very best of British as well. My name is Chaz Draycott, and alongside me once again is the wonderful Peter MacKay. And, well, we've been looking for, well, I say we've been looking forward to 3 tracks more than some others here, Peter, other than Sebring maybe, and we've got them all in a row for the final 3 rounds, starting with Brands Hatch. What a place to be.
Indeed, an absolute cracking place to be. A proper old-school circuit in the sense that it follows the natural curvature of the land. And actually, one of the reasons why it's so undulating is because it was bombed quite extensively in the war, because it was an old an old military vehicle car park, so it was a bit of a prime target. But thanks, guys, you've given us a wonderful circuit to use.
They have indeed, and like you say, it is just such an undulating track. It's very, very tricky, a real old school circuit, because unlike a lot of modern day tracks, you've just got grass and barrier either side of you. There's no sort of leeway for any mistakes around here, is there? It's very, very savage.
Yeah, if you're a bit of a doom merchant and a fan of spectacular accidents, for some reason Brands Hatch seems to be a magnet for them. There's often, of course, there's often at least one, if not 2, meetings in each of the British Touring Car Championship and the British Superbike Championship, and usually when the British Superbikes come here to do the full GP circuit, there's actually been 2 years in a row where a motorcycle ended up halfway up a tree. Yeah, so it's a serious circuit, and if you make a mistake, you're in big trouble. Do you remember now? Oh, help me out here, Chaz. One of the guys was Will Hoy. It was the 2 Toyotas that crashed at Dingle Dale. They took each other off.
Andy Rouse.
Who was it? Andy Rouse, thank you. Yes, Andy Rouse and Will Hoy had a big one, and John Cleland went past. I think he could barely keep the car on the road for a laugh.
Oh, yeah, it's an iconic moment of British motorsport with Murray Walker just shouting, "Oh, off! They're both off!" And then, it's just the comical way they sort of half bounce off the wall but just carry on skating up the hill together. And if I'm honest, I can't even imagine how John Cleland would have been feeling at the time, because it was a great race up to that point as well. So yeah, it's certainly a circuit that does actually provide a lot of large accidents, like you say, just because of that unforgiveness. There was obviously a massive accident. I think it was in the Formula 1 actually. Johnny Herbert, I'm pretty sure it was, had a monster of an accident going down the hill. Actually hit the bridge on the way down the hill and took a number of cars with him. And fortunately, he was okay. He was injured at the time, but he recovered from said injuries and he was all right. But not the safest of places back then. Of course, it's been very much refined since then, and is a staple for any British Championship, and a lot of European series as well come here. They prefer coming here to Silverstone, do a lot of series, despite the tiny paddock on the inside. It's got a huge paddock on the outside, but it's very strange, isn't it, the way the tunnel goes along and there's a tiny road, but it's certainly been adapted to work well for even the biggest series in the UK.
Oh, absolutely. It's a far more, in my opinion, it's a far more interesting circuit than Silverstone. A little bit more friendly for the fan as well, with the kind of natural bowls that kind of work their way around some of the corners. And you won't hear many people with a bad word to say about Brands Hatch from a driving perspective. So I can see why the European teams like it as well, because of course not too far from the Channel Tunnel and the ferry as well. So you don't have to go around London. So that's always nice.
That's very true indeed. Luke Holroyd then is fastest at the moment in qualifying. This is the club class that we're watching right now. He's over 2.5 tenths faster than Danny Jones, who is ahead of Tom Slater, Paul Goffin and Amrik Sashdev. Ryan Penny is up in 6th. Carl Hazelton is 8th. I got the pleasure of meeting Carl today. I actually went to Porsche Centre Chester, everybody. I actually went there, and Carl was very kind and invited me down to try out the Taycan Turbo S, and I've only just about screwed my head back on, if I'm honest with you, but it's mind-bending. But it was fantastic to meet Carl, and his colleagues were all brilliant as well, and it was a wonderful day. So hopefully he goes well tonight. He said he was looking forward to driving Brands. He said it's going to be quite difficult, but it should be interesting nonetheless. And it is really close once again here, Peter. I mean, 2 seconds separating the top 18, 2.6 separating the top 20. So especially around a lap that's a minute and a half. That's not bad going, really, is it?
No, not bad at all. Indeed, especially for one of the circuits like Brands Hatch, where there's a lot of sort of almost flat corners, and that's what really separates the field out a lot of the time as well. So yes, it's pretty close, that's for sure. Now, what I want to know, Chaz, is how many McDonald's wrappers did you leave in Carl's car?
Fortunately, they were all left in my brother's car on the way there. We did have one on the way there, and it nearly revisited us when we accelerated in the Taycan, because it's just mind-bending. That's the only way I can describe it, really. But what a car, and how well engineered it is. It's just, you can tell why it is as much as it is, just in the build quality of it. You could expect nothing less from a Porsche. Not even in a biased way. They cost that much for a reason. And yeah, the technology and the ease of use was what really surprised me. I expected it to be quick, but nowhere near as quick as it was. It hurt my head. But just the ease of use. Even when you're going quickly, or even when you're going slowly, it's so easy to drive it, and the response is just ballistic. So if anybody ever does get the chance to even just tickle one a little bit, flipping heck, do it, because it'll change your outlook on electric cars. My brother was certainly the same. He was a bit of a skeptic, thinking, it doesn't make a noise, it doesn't do all the pops and bangs and the normal stuff that cars do that's exciting. But yeah, he had a go as well, and he was very converted in about 50 feet, I think you could say.
For me, they're far more interesting than these stupid SUVs. But it's the end of qualifying, so let's not go down that
yeah,
hole.
That's a bit of a rabbit hole to go down there. Luke Holroyd on pole position. Danny Jones alongside. Tom Slater and Paul Goffin, a very strong row too. Amric Sash, Devon Ryan Penny behind with João Estevez, Carl Hazelton, Andrew Shepherd, and Oliver Cowdean. Round out your 10. We'll filter through the rest of the grid there, because as mentioned previously, these guys grid up very, very fast indeed. So we wait for our front row to take to the grid. There's Tom Slater in the Jameson car. He's a potential race winner here, I'd say, Peter. I mean, Danny Jones, he's got a good chance. Luke Holroyd could get away, but I think if Luke doesn't break away here, I could see anyone from the top 6 maybe winning this.
Well, I do know that, of course, Luke Holroyd, the man in charge of Porsche and it's been a pretty busy couple of days for Porsche news, with the big news that Porsche and Penske are going to go to Le Mans together, and that's certainly going to be Luke's excuse if anything goes wrong, because he hasn't actually been able to get in his normal amount of practice, I understand. So I'm sure he'll be absolutely chuffed to bits with pole position, with that being considered.
Yeah, definitely. And what exciting news it is as well. And an absolutely unbelievable bit of news. The whole motorsport world has just dropped its jaws. I imagine still a lot of them will still be getting picked up in about a week's time, because, I mean, seeing the old pictures resurface of the RS Spider in the yellow DHL colours as well just looks absolutely stunning. I forgot how pretty that car is. And I always used to drive it on Forza years ago because it just had such great acceleration.
It's absolutely unbelievable. Do you know that they were pretty much flat through most of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in that car?
Oh, God.
Pretty much the only one they weren't flat was turn 5, the Moss corner.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, you'd have to be either a bit...
Yeah,
I think
turn 1, 2, 3, completely flat.
Oh, God. That's just horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, flipping heck. Well, these lot won't be completely flat around here tonight, but either way, Mark Elvin's going to start from the pit lane, but round 11 in the club class is about to get underway, and they are away. Great start in the middle from Oliver Cowdean, goes around Carl Hazelton. Carl's had a bit of a bog down off the line, doesn't quite get the launch that he wanted. Everybody checks up into turn 1. You've got to take it so safe for Paddock Hill Bend. One of the scariest corners in the world, you have to say. Let's see how everyone gets on. Oh, there's a bit of contact, and Paul Goffin has been tagged by João Estevez, is it? It is. Oh, and he's rolled back into the middle of the road. Oh, there's more contact. That is...
Gilles Gardner.
Yeah, Gilles Gardner around. And who else was that? David Patching in there with him. Easy to do, though, because you can lock up so easily going up there, can't you? And then the car just straight lines, especially with the undulation. And that's what these guys have to think about tonight on cold tyres, isn't it?
Absolutely. Of course, no rolling start, no warm-up laps, so the tyres are ice cold, and of course no anti-lock braking system in these cars as well. So if you just put out a little bit too much brake pressure, you're along for the ride. You lock up very easily, and I think that's what happened But we must remind our viewers, might need to remind the drivers as well, that if you cause an incident on lap 1, it's called the orange zone rule, and Amrik's oh my God, that's huge!
Oh, that's Carwadine.
No. Oh, that's big. Oh, and Carwadine's been, championship contender Ollie Carwadine held up in that. That's a big profile incident. As I was saying, if you cause an incident on lap 1, it's called the orange zone rule, you must take yourself for a drive-through. And if not, you're in big trouble from the Bernie.
Yes, yeah, you will be. So we can expect to see a few people come through. That sounds like what Mika Hakkinen would call Mark Phillips, the Bernie. Rather like he used to call Michael Schumacher, the Michael. But yeah, indeed, the wrath of Bernie will come down on those. And there you go. You know, that is the sign of the sportsmanship in this championship. João Estevez and David Patching, Amrit Sashdev in there, Oliver Carwadine in, but I think that's more for repairs rather than causing an incident, let's face it. There wasn't really much he could do. And even in fairness to Amrit, when you're on the grass in these cars, you know, you could do 1,000,001 things to try and wrangle it back on circuit, but you're very limited in what you have the ability to do when you're on slicks on grass.
Yeah, and of course Hazelton's gone off at Surtees. Just Taycan wouldn't have done that. That would have gripped in there. Torque vectoring, you see.
Yes, indeed. Indeed, I still feel it in my knees. But that's just a little bit too hot into there for Carl. And again, the undulation, sometimes it gives you this sort of false reading of grip, does the undulation. When the circuit comes towards you, obviously it compresses at the front, gets the car lower to the ground, and it does help you turn in. It's when you're going over a crest, when the weight goes away from the wheels, that it then goes wide and understeers like mad. And it seemed like Carl just lent on it a bit too much going in. Greg Butterworth is off as well, trying his best Tony Hawk impression along the wall. Manages to get it turned, but out front, only by 9/10 of a second. It's still Luke Holroyd, but Tom Slater at this point, Peter, is looking like the man that wants to try and get past Danny. However, if these two battle too much, Luke will disappear.
That's the thing, they've got to play this very, very clever here, coming up into the hairpin at Druids and down towards Graham Hill Bend. And yeah, picking your moment of where to overtake is quite important here at Brands Hatch. And the thing is, if you want to defend, you can be, my goodness me, can you be a nuisance here. You can have a driver that's over a second a lap quick, and as long as you place your car in the right place, well, you can make it near impossible for your rival to get by. That at the moment, that's not really in either Danny Jones or Tom Slater's interest. The only person's interest that would be in would be Luke Holroyd out in the lead. So maybe we'll just see Tom Slater, see if Danny Jones can move forward, and if not, well, then he's got to push on. Oh, big one for Jared Coleman.
Spencer Ayres is off as well. I think he might have been involved in this. The two of them still off. That's a lot of damage on Spencer Ayres' car. He needs to be careful. Oh, that was kind of coming. He went one way, then the other. That's a real shame, though, for Spencer. Let's have a quick look and see whether we can figure out where this started. So Jared Coleman and Greg Butterworth have both been off as well. This is where Jared goes off. Oh, so there is the contact. And Jared gets caught up in it and into the wall. And then it was from there Spencer tried to get back on. But look at it, the car's crabbing so much that when it finally gets on the circuit with all four wheels, it just goes in a straight line. And then he goes over to the right, stay off the racing line, but it's just a little bit too late. And Julien Noizet, by the look of it, has got away with that. Bit of damage to the front, but I think I've maybe judged it a bit early in saying he's got away with it. Yeah, he's actually in the pits as well. That's a real shame, that, because you know, Julien didn't do anything wrong, and in fairness, neither did Spencer. You know, I think a lot of us would have tried to get off the racing line there and just stay to the right, but I think it was just one of those miscommunications that you can have. It is motorsport at the end of the day, and it's flat out.
Yep, you got it. You can't, if you want to win now in the PCGB Championship, you've really got to be absolutely on your game, and you cannot afford to dither around, whether that be in the club or the pro class. As we'll see when we get to the pro class later on, you'll see just a very, very high level. Oh, now who's this off? Andrew Soper.
And Carl's off as well.
Oh no, so it's not been a good start to the day for Carl Hazelton. He's obviously traumatised from what you've done to his car.
I think it were two separate incidents, you know. Andrew Soper's just gone in a bit too hot, rotated it on his own. Oh, Carl's done the same. That's it's one of those horrible corners, isn't it, Surtees, because you're having to turn and brake at the same time. If you've got the brake bias really far back, like you usually have to in these cars, just to get that bit of rotation, it can completely outdo itself with the slightest of lockups. We look here at Ralph Meyer, by the way, and his brother Heinz Meyer. I know I keep saying it wrong, boys. But he's gained 11 places so far. The only man that's gained more than him is this guy who's having a brilliant evening, Peter Brill. 13 places gained. 12 places gained to 13th. Really good stuff.
Superb stuff indeed. Yeah, there's been quite, taking nothing away from Peter, there's been quite a high rate of attrition so far, but that's Brands Hatch. You've got, as we mentioned before the broadcast, there are not really any small accidents here. You've got to be on your game. And tell you what, also on that measure, Andy Marston once again clocking out those laps with metronomic consistency. And of course, Andy, a competitor for the AMS Porsche prize, which has very, very kindly been put up by Angus Archer, who races in the real world Porsche Club of Great Britain Championship in a Boxster. And of course, he owns AMS Porsche, which refurbish and restore Porsches, service them, whatever you want. And he's very kindly given up 2 places for the winner in the club and the pro class to come and drive the car. And not the winner on track, the safest car on track. I think he says, yes, you can have a go in it, but I want the person who doesn't get in accidents all the time.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a great prize to have, and it's nice that it's not always a prize for the winner, because people like you and I, not to take anything away from your driving ability, Peter, but I think we'll both admit we're far from the finest drivers on iRacing. But for people like us that don't always win the races, we're not always right at the top of the pile. It gives them something else to fight for, a bit further back in the pack, and it's all well and good having the fun in the sim, but I think we'll all agree that nothing really compares to the real thing, does it?
No, not as far as I'm aware. No. And I tell you what, at the moment we've got... Danny Jones off! Danny Jones off! Tom Slater goes by. Manages to get it back on the circuit safely enough. Oh, it's Graham Hill Bend. Is it? Oh, it's a classic Graham Hill Bend. Just when you ask for the power, you're on that runoff. It can just get onto the grass and just caught Danny Jones out there. He's obviously under pressure there from Tom Slater. Now we'll see if Tom Slater can catch up to the back of Luke Holroyd. We're not even at half race distance yet, so it's quite possible. But despite that little incident, Danny Jones still in third.
Yeah, he's done really well actually not to lose more ground there. He's just under a second ahead of Ryan Penny now. We know how quick Danny can be, but that's just one of the things about this car, isn't it? It's got no traction control, and it really does float through a lot of the corners. So if you just have that tiny bit of slip up, like you say, that runoff on the exit, it's actually quite slippy concrete with grass planted in between it. So you've got this sudden, very bumpy surface, but also very patterned surface as well. It's definitely not a smooth contact patch with the slick tyres that these cars have on, so it really does upset the right rear. And Danny Jones, unfortunately, the victim of that. A little bit further down the order, we've got Julian Noizet just on the back of Jamie Ward for the final spot in the top 20, just coming out of Surtees now. Looks like Julian's going to get a good run here. Is he going to get the slipstream? Can't see anything working on the right-hand side yet. We've got Paul Goffin off the circuit. That's at Paddock Hill. Let's have a look what happened here. Oh, just on the down change, it just flicks the car, and he's lucky not to hit anything there, really, isn't he?
Yeah, you're lucky to get away with it with one of those ones at Paddock Hill Bend, that's for sure. Just coming back to the AMS Porsche Trophy, if it were, I'd be worried. If it were for the winning car, because at the moment the runaway leader in the Pro Championship is the number 116 of Jacob Fox. And I tell you what, I'd never, ever, ever let somebody with using the number 116 anywhere near one of my cars for obvious reasons.
I wondered if you liked the picture on the weekend that I tagged you in of the number 116 kart at Daytona that I found during the race.
I didn't see that, thankfully.
I said this guy's going to use a bit of his front bumper, eh, Peter? But they actually did Sergeant Bash, yeah. He did actually do quite well as well. I can't remember how the number 6 one got on, to be fair, but I can recheck the results and we'll see. But it gets underway this coming weekend.
I know.
Can't wait.
I know.
And I'm away. And funnily enough, I'm at Brands Hatch.
Oh. How's the DTM suspension going in the Infinity?
Oh, I don't know. I've not asked. For God's sake, we could honestly trade blows on that for hours. Danny's had it off again. Oh, he's in the middle of the road. What has happened here, Danny? He's just, well, I would say that's how the cookie crumbles, but Harry, what on earth? Oh, and he just misses Greg as well.
Is it just me, or did that car appear from nowhere?
Jamie Ward, he gets out of the way. Oh, and he touches the grass. Now, we got the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship underway last night, and someone was trying to stay out the way on the outside of Druids at Alton Park and clipped the grass with his left wheels and ended up completely sideways across the track in front of second place in the race, and it was an almighty accident. It's just easy to do when you're at the side of the road trying to stay out of the way. It's just an honest mistake to make, isn't it? Because you're just watching what they're doing, maybe not too much what your own car's doing, and it's easy just to stray a little bit too wide.
Yes, it's always intimidating if you've got a faster car coming up behind you. It's easy to make that error, and that just comes from experience. It's everybody goes through that. I remember when I did my first track days on my motorbike. That put manners in me, that's for sure. I'd love to know. I mean, we're not blessed with good skin tone here in Scotland for obvious reasons. Pretty pale colours we are. But oh my goodness me, I was Casper the Ghost after that.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's it's lively enough in a car, but yeah, on a bike, it's just you're so more in touch with the stuff around you as well on a bike. It's pretty mad, isn't it, really? But hats off to you for doing that, because I don't know how people get on motorbikes and race them. I think you've got to be on another level for that. I really do.
I found that out as well, and I found that out when I was on my backside at 120 miles an hour going into the Duffus Dip with the bike in bits. So I'll just watch. It's fine.
Well, it's always good fun to spectate sometimes. Oh, Peter Brill, his really good race is unfortunately taking a bit of a turn here. What's happened? Oh, again, just Surtees. Oh, he gets caught by Sashdev. Finishes off the 360 for him. Such a shame though, because now he's got to wait and wait and wait on the inside. And the thing is, it's not like you're waiting for cars to go past quickly there. You're waiting for them to go very slowly. Yeah,
that's where the iRacing relative is incredibly handy, where it tells you how far ahead the car in front is, but it's live, so it's moving all the time. So if you've got a car closing in quickly, you can keep an eye on that. So it's very, very useful. I tell you what, it's so useful in multi-class races as well, because it color codes the classes. So if there's if you're in a GT car, you know if there's an LMP car coming up behind you, because it flashes up on the relative. It's super, super handy. I tell you what, it'd be quite handy in I don't know if they have them to a point in real race cars, but yeah, very handy for iRacing, and that's knackered. Is that?
Yeah, look at that.
Technical term.
Yeah, there are other technical terms, but
then for some new suspension, John.
There are other words for it, but they're not broadcastable, in all honesty. That was a real shame. Andrew Marston, 15th at the moment, started 21st, continuing his charge up the order. But somebody that is continuing their charge at the front of the order is Luke Holroyd. And to be fair, Peter, we've seen a few performances similar to this season where he just ekes out that gap bit by bit as the time goes on, and he just gets it done. And it's been another really good performance so far from Luke Holroyd.
I think this might be his best of the season, actually, I might add. And do you know why, Chaz? Is between now and our last broadcast 2 weeks ago, he's had the man bun cut off.
Oh, my goodness me.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's it then. He must be going quicker down the straight, surely. Less downforce.
Must be. I mean, it's like success ballast has been taken off. We know how effective that is in British touring cars.
Unless you're in a BM.
or a kit car with a Q reg on it.
A Q reg. Andrew Shepherd is in 5th place at the minute. Oh, the amount of times I had people ask me when I used to work in insurance, I've never seen a car with a Q reg on it. It's like, yeah, you probably won't. Andrew Shepherd then 5th. Oh, Mark Elvin's just had an issue. Oh, he's around. Amrik Sashta. Wow, there's not much left of the front of Amrik's car. The two of them get going again at a steady pace. But I just wanted to quickly look at this. Paul Stout, 4th place. Andrew Shepherd in 5th. Paul Stout's having a really good drive so far. 7 places gained at the minute. Andrew Shepherd has gained 4 from where he started. Danny Jones not too far behind them. But we've got quite the spread in the field this time, actually, Peter. From 1st to 20th is 1 minute and 40 seconds. So we've got actually over a lap between 1st and... who's the next one up? I think it's... everyone down to 18th is still on the lead lap.
I think it's certainly been a high rate of attrition, that's for sure. I mean, which is what we expected. Oh my goodness me, what's going on here? It's Talladega on the Brabham Straight. Goodness me, we've got, what have we got in here? We've got Meyer, Rowe, Goffin. Oh,
Goffin's bopping.
Put in the coffin for a caper like that. Oh my goodness me, oh dear.
That was so close.
How did Carl Hazelton get through there?
I really don't know. We'll have to have a look. Look how far back he is from the incident as well. Somehow makes it. So you see the contact. Well, it's already happened. Car on the right. Slows down. Oh, love that. Oh, that was tasty stuff. Down the inside of Oliver Carmody. And he thinks, oh, you're slowing down for that a bit too much, mate. Watch this. Love it. Absolutely love it. And I'll tell you what, actually, as well, I'm not going to bang on about it too much after this, but I actually got to see that livery on Carl's car in person today, and it's amazing to see it in person. It is amazing to see. It was a real joy. But I tell you what, he wasn't taking anything there, was he? Jamie Ward ends up off in the barrier. I'm not sure if he thought Jamie had backed out of it a little more or something, but unfortunately, that's Jamie's race over, I believe.
I was about to say, does it have the red Coca-Cola stripes down the side of it like that?
Oh, no. That was a bit gutting, that, for Jamie Ward, though, I'm afraid. But that's the thing, you know, you're racing at a very, very high pace here, and, you know, it's split-second decisions that make all the difference. And I think, obviously, to me, it looked there like Carl had thought that Jamie had backed out of it a little bit more, you know, on the way in, so he could just open up the corner at Hawthorns, which is, it's a scary corner anyway, isn't it, really, when you come to Hawthorn? But yeah, I'm afraid Jamie loses out quite a lot with that one. I'm just going to check if he gets back out there, but he is still in the pits. I think he might have used his fast repair before, as Mark Elvin is taking a different line down the front straight here. What the heck has gone on here? Has he had contact? He's got Amrik Sashdev with him. Oh, he's lit it up. Oh! Goes one way, then the other. And to be fair, I'd say Amrik got lucky there because he didn't get turned around himself.
They put on a set of Pirellis. They're far better tyre because they are the official tyre of the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Your local Pirelli Performance Centre, and get a specific tyre designed for your Porsche now.
That wasn't recorded beforehand, by the way. That was actually done live, so hats off. Now, Andrew Shepherd's done it.
Oh,
way.
Follows around.
Go on. Oh, I thought he was going to completely style it out there. Andrew Shepherd just went in a little bit too hot. Good awareness by Paul Stout, though. You know, he broke early, kept the car tucked to the inside, and he let Shepherd have his own accident there. It was good awareness and just good judgment, wasn't it, really? And that's the thing that you need tonight, is you need to be able to judge when someone might have just overdone it a little bit.
That was very smart. I think you could tell that Paul Stout's thinking, well, you're about to have an accident, so I'm going to the inside here.
Yeah, I'm not having any part in that. Oh, we've got smoke in the background. Oh, we've got cars off. Oh, Carl Hazelton's in it. Ralph Meyer. And who else is in it? Heinz Meyer as well.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, flipping heck. We'll have to very, very quickly have a look at what happened with this. So, Ralph Meyer's gone off on his own.
Oh, no.
And then, oh no. Oh no. Oh, boys. Oh, that's absolutely... Oh, Goffin has his own incident. But round the final corner to take a flawless victory. Luke Holroyd, what a drive. Tom Slater is going to come home second. And Ryan Penny in the Jagerball. But look at the gap. Look at the gap back. 21 seconds back is Ryan Penny. But that was such a shame there with the incident. But we see that quite a lot, don't we, Peter? When something's going on track, drivers move around to avoid it in their own way. It just all sort of compresses together, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's one of these things that can happen in racing. In Paddock Hill Bend, as you mentioned it, one of the most scary corners in the world, I think, certainly in the British Isles, that's for sure. What a podium for Ryan Penny in the Jagerbull. One of his standout drives of the season, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Really, really sturdy stuff from Ryan Penny. And plenty of points.
So good.
It does, doesn't it?
I did it for a joke, but it looks amazing.
I do love a split livery, to be fair. I used to paint a number of cars on iRacing in split liveries. One colour, one side with stickers on, and then completely opposite stickers on the other side as well. And it just really looks the part. I do love it. But yeah, very strong stuff from Ryan Penny in that race. He can be very, very pleased with that. And it's a lot of points on the board as well, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what they're all here for, to try and get the points.
That's it, yeah. That's for sure. We just saw the pink pig go over the line there, Andrew Marston. I feel it's kind of sad he's replaced the Midas Simulation Trophy winner with Sim Racing Magazine, but I suppose we'll let him off for that one.
Yeah, well, the Sim Racing Magazine's been amazing as well, actually. I've really enjoyed working on him with that as well, and we've obviously both been putting in things for that. Now, we've got warm-up for a little bit, so we'll go over the results of the first race of the evening. Luke Holroyd taking the overall win from Tom Slater, 2.6 seconds, and then look at that, another 21 seconds back to Ryan Penny. Paul Stout finishes fourth after a good defence all the way through. Danny Jones, despite 2 spins, manages to stay in fifth. That's a really good recovery. Andrew Shepherd ends up sixth after his little off there. João Estevez is seventh. Ralph Meyer is eighth. Paul Goffin ends up ninth ahead of Michael Rowe in 10th. Then we have Andrew Soper, Gilles Gardner, Carl Hazelton 13th with Andrew Marston in 14th. In 1 minute and 11 seconds behind in the triple one car. David Patching is 15th, and then 1 lap down or more was Heinz Meyer, Mark Elvin, Amrik Sashdev, Julian Noizet, Jared Coleman, Greg Butterworth and Oliver Carwadine. 2 laps down with Spencer Ayres and Peter Brill, and then Jamie Ward, unfortunately, 4 laps down at the back of the pack, and I believe that is it, and it is, yes. But another very, very lively race there, Peter. Plenty going on at all points. Certainly does keep us entertained, this championship, doesn't it?
Yes, I think there might be a few people licking their wounds after that one. A higher rate of attrition than we're maybe used to, certainly in the opening sprint race where we start in qualifying order. Of course, now we're going into the feature race, which is a reverse grid, so completely reversed. So Luke Holroyd will start all the way at the back. And that's well, we know that whoops, David Patching has a wee off there. We know that it's that you've really got to take your time in the reverse grid races, because the attrition, if you think the attrition rate was high in the sprint, certainly in the reverse grid it can be even more so. That being said, those who did have incidents, maybe they've got them out the way now, and they can think, right, okay, we need to back it off a little bit and just focus on getting the car to the end. But it's so easy for us to say that up here in the commentary box, isn't it?
Oh yeah. This is it's one of the perks of the job. I think we get to sit up here and say, "Oh yeah, it's easy." Oh, was that some moment there for Jared Coleman? Manages to keep it out the wall, but I imagine he'll be back in the pits for a fresh pair of boots after that one, or a fresh set of boots anyway. But yeah, we could sit up here and say, "Oh yeah, just do this," or like, don't go for it, or why don't you just go for a move, or why don't you just defend better? Yeah, if we got out there, would probably be bottom of the club class, to be fair. But it's just what I was saying today was that it's the unpredictability in not just the club class, but away from some of the very top guys in the pro class, it is still really unpredictable. This car is so difficult to drive that some drivers just really gel with one circuit and they can have an absolute nightmare getting on with some of the others. So you never know who's going to put in just a rapid lap time out of nowhere and beat everybody to the top spot.
It's very true. It's very true, and it can be very much circuit dependent as well. But speaking of this car, you're right. It is a bit of a handful. 4-litre engine hung right over the back wheels. Very much a typical 911. No traction control, no ABS. Very much a knife-edge car. But since we last were on air here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, there's been a big announcement the Porsche 911 GT3R. That's the full-fledged GT3 spec machine with ABS, with traction control, with lots of aero, is coming to iRacing in the next build. So maybe if we speak really nicely to Bernie, he'll still want us to drive in the Cup car.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be fantastic to have that. I believe they will be doing the new Cup car as well further down the line. Ooh. But they did sort of say, not yet, maybe. It was a bit of a strange one in the presentation that they did with the final Porsche Esports Super Cup round. But I think it's inevitable because, you know, iRacing have grown their relationship with Porsche so much through the Porsche Esports Super Cup and just all of the content that they've brought with it. You know, they obviously signed a deal a while ago for a number of cars. We got the RSR, we got the Cup car, we've got the GT4 Cayman, and then that GT3R is the last of the 4 that they'd signed a long time ago. And I think going forward, it wouldn't make any sense to me if they hadn't already signed the new Cup car to be scanned and sorted. But I think, unlike what happened with the other German manufacturer we can't mention, with the car that looks like a pig at the front, oh, nice save. The car actually raced in the sim before it had ever raced in real life, which was pretty balmy.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous taking a golfer's car and putting a wing on the back of it, isn't it?
Oh, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength with that. Jamie Ward then takes pole position ahead of Peter Brill, Spencer Ayres, Oliver Cowdery, Gregory Butterworth, Jared Coleman, Julian Noizet, Amrit Sashdev, Mark Elvin, and Heinz Meyer. And then the rest of them, to sound like the laziest commentator on earth. But we do have 25 cars. There's Luke at the back of the field. We're just waiting for Mark Elvin and Luke Holroyd, the two that we were waiting for in the first race. Any picks for this one, Peter?
It's very hard to call. Ollie Carbadine, I think it's going to be tough to beat him from fourth on the grid.
Well, we'll keep an eye on him. It was a shame about that incident in the first race, but he's going to look to turn that around. We may have another minute or so here, because with Mark Elvin starting in the pit lane... Oh no, it looks like we're going to get underway. Never mind. Shut up, Chaz. Right then, Mark Elvin is in the pit lane, but round 12 in the club class from Brands Hatch is away. Looks like quite a steady start for most of them. Really good stuff from Peter Brill. Tries to go around the outside, breaks a little bit early, just plays it safe. I'll tell you what. Nice, tame start for everyone there. Really clean stuff. Ryan Penny's gained 3 places. Danny Jones has gained 4. Look at how how behavioural this is. Everyone just keeping calm. Oh, there's been a contact in front though. Oh, I had to say it, didn't I? Oh, there's a lot of them off. Oh, there's a lot of them involved. Oh my. Oh,
you
Christ.
did that. That's a classic Chaz up here. Oh my goodness. Look
at
oh
Luke.
My God.
Oh.
Just a little bit impatient.
Oh my. We've got João Estevez, Carl Hazelton recovering as well with damage. Jamie Ward, though, still out in front with Spencer Ayres behind him. Throughout all this, Jared Coleman's off again where he was off in race 1. Through all of it,
mustard.
Danny Jones has gained 15 places. Andrew Soper has gained 11. Andrew Shepard has gained 13. Paul Stout's gained 10. And Luke Holroyd has gained 11 to be up into 14th. But that was just... it's just that one thing leads to another in that situation, doesn't it, really? We'll have to try and piece together what happened. But Jamie Ward leads them after lap 1.
Flat 6 dominoes there.
Yeah, it was. It really was. So let's see if we can pick this apart from the blimp. Jared Coleman and Peter Brill make contact. There's a check up in front of them. Then there's another bit of contact. And every single car that then piles in. Oh, I think that was Heinz Meyer. Oh, and Jared Coleman tries to come on. Ouch.
I think there's maybe been a delivery of Petro-Canada lubricant, perhaps. That
just to Graham Hill Bend.
The truck driver's gone over Graham Hill Bend, maybe.
Yes, it looks like it. Now I'm getting the flack for causing that. I'm sorry, Gav. I'm sorry, mate.
That is the most pure strain of commentators' curse I think I've ever seen.
Well, it's kind of I'm really upset actually that Carl Hazelton got involved in that one, because I said to him tonight, I'm just going to say that everyone else is doing well and try and pay him back for lending me his Taycan for a day by saying that everyone else is doing well and try and bring the commentator's curse on them. But unfortunately, he got up in the middle of that. Now look at this, Andrew Marston trying to defend from Danny Jones here as they go through Westfield down the hill. Oh, nearly a touch there.
Oh, come on, Andy. He's like, if you want to go by me, you're having to go around the wrong way, pal.
Oh, off the limiter there as well. Sounds amazing. You can see the crazy helmet that Danny Jones has got on there.
Just leaves it on the limiter. Don't worry, engine guy can worry about it. Just leave it on the limiter or going at the corner. Honestly, that's what he does. Listen to him.
Oh, God. Oh, Danny.
Oh, plastic.
Oh. I don't think I've ever heard you make a noise like that, Peter.
Right.
Oh. Oh, that, you know, oh no, what was that?
Oh no, oh no.
Oh, Gregory Butterworth was right up there. No. Floats back onto the road. Somehow they get away with it. These cars are a bit like tanks, aren't they? Oh, there's more contact off in front. Andrew Marston's now off. Car is thoroughly... wow. Look at this lot. The car is absolutely whacked after all of that. Oh my God. Where do we look? Where do we look? Contact! That was the number 29, Mark Elvin, into the back of Luke Holroyd. Luke Holroyd involved in it. Oh, and Elvin's just been absolutely nailed by João Estevez. Greg Butterworth's off again. That car is done for. Oh, don't let it come back on the track. Oh! Flipping heck. What is on? Has the sun got to these boys today? Oh, Ralph Myers off now with a damaged car as well. That was just half a lap of just pure mayhem.
That's like Donington season 1, round 1, wasn't it?
Yeah, like
carnage.
Again, let's just try to go to the Blimpie boy. So there's contact there. That's between Soper and Butterworth. Butterworth then gets onto the infield out of the way. Jamie Ward sneaks through. And then this train, oh, he just floats back onto the road. Marston's car's done for. Now, there's contact there between Danny Jones and Heinz Meyer. Jared Coleman and Ralph Meyer get close together. Then it's 3 wide. That's Tom Slater down the inside. Look at Luke Holroyd in the white and black car near the back of all of this. Oh, Elvin just loses it on the brakes. And now watch Elvin on the right in the Michelin car, because João Estevez has already lost it. And then he ploughs him as well. Unreal.
Oh dear.
Wow. So basically, if you want to win this race, just finish. By the look of it. Although Spencer Ayres is doing a great job. He's 12 seconds out in front. He's taken a big bite out of the field today.
Absolutely.
Well, you could say it's been a clean performance, Silverstone Detail.
Yeah, well, it's been a very polished performance.
Yes. Yes, indeed. This is the battle for 4th and 5th.
Lyrical about it tomorrow at work.
that was a complex one. Oh, I like that.
I find myself.
I bet you've got your chin held very high right now. that was a belter. I like that. Jamie Ward holding on well in second place at the moment. Andrew Shepherd has gained 17 places to be where he is right now in third. And he's going to try and just eke his way past Jamie. He knows he's got the pace, because he's been very quick this season as Andrew. Look at the run that he's got there down to turn 1. Over the crest into the very tricky braking zone here at Paddock Hill Bend. Tries to go around the outside. Goes for the cutback. Nothing doing there. Looks back down the inside. Fastest lap of the race by Slater, then Holroyd. Lovely stuff by Andrew Shepherd. We've also got Heinz Meyer, Michael Rowe just behind in a relatively clean Valvoline car. He's got Paul Stout in there. Amrit Sashdev, Carwadine, Slater. Slater at the back of this, then Luke Holroyd is behind him, but there's just a sea of cars wherever you look. Oh, Ryan Penny and João Estevez are off. Oh no, more contact. Oh, João just tries to close the gap, doesn't he? I know.
I don't think there's 100% blame to Porsche there, but anyway, I tell you what, I know you like a bit of amateur stewarding, Chaz, but goodness me, this is. They might need to. You might get a job because plenty of it to look at after this one. Goodness me, Bernie's going to run out of whip oil.
His keyboard will go past its warranty of how many key presses you can do.
Yeah, his pen's going to run out of ink.
Yeah, that's very true. I think the keyboard will run out of ink.
He doesn't have enough wrath to go around.
Indeed. Oh, you can just see. I was leaning around my monitor there just to look to the right-hand side. You can see Jamie Ward trying to hold on ahead of Andrew Soper at the front of this. Heinz Meyer just behind. I think Heinz has actually been the culprit for a few of the incidents tonight. Oh, it's cold. It goes into Sashdev now. Oh, and Sashdev's off with Tom Slater. So while it went one way with Luke Holroyd being off before, Tom Slater has now suffered. And Luke Holroyd is back ahead of one of his championship rivals. This is unbelievable.
Can I just say we're not even halfway through yet?
Oh, God.
It just shows you, actually, no matter what happens, you just got to keep the car rolling, and you never know what you'll pick up. Oh, dearie.
Oh, I think Carl might have been having a hardware issue or something there, because look, sometimes it's not always just network related, but you can have hardware blips as well that come through the sim because it can't communicate where the car is.
Sick, Chaz Draycott. You're just like, oh, please, can I borrow your car again? Well, that wasn't your mistake, honestly.
No, genuinely, with the blinking, like it can. Oh, what's happened now? Oh, Ryan Penny and Peter Brill. Tom Slater went off again.
Why has everybody fitted Mansory body kits to all these cars?
I think Peter just lost the back end on the way around the outside when he got on the power. And then it just drifted left into him. I've not got many words, really. This is a good battle, though, for second place at the moment. Down the inside goes Danny Jones on Shepherd. Very close indeed. Shepherd with a lot of damage to the front right, though. That's surely got to be affecting the car. Oh, Tom Slater's off again. These boys are they're gonna really need to lie down after this, aren't they?
I think so. I don't think I've quite seen anything like this in all my time in commentary. I'll be quite honest. You just get these days, don't you, where it's just it's like, what was it, Belgian Grand Prix '98 or '99?
Yeah.
When Jordan won. Was it '98? Oh, that's a trivia question for you. But who cares? It's F1. But, yeah, just where everything just goes completely bananas, and this has been it. I think we've kind of got spoiled of late, Chaz, haven't we? With the drivers have been so good and they've made such big improvements. But today, it's goodness me, it's like one of those days where your teacher just gives up and walks out the room.
Yeah, last day of school. It's like they got the substitute teacher in that nobody has any respect for.
Put a video on and go and make yourself a cup of tea.
Yeah, that's it. It's just, no one gives one. But I tell you what, it's still entertaining because you don't know who's going to finish where or what incident's going to happen when. It's just so up in the air. Look at how slow Luke Holroyd's going here just to make sure that he doesn't get caught up by any of these guys checking up in front of him. That's Paul Stout. Luke Holroyd's gained 16 places. Paul Stout has gained 14, so both of them on a really good charge through the field. Michael Rowe, just ahead of them, has gained 9 places. And then that's Jamie Ward, who started on pole position and is now down to 6th. You can hear Luke Holroyd going past Paul Stout. I want to stay on board, though, and just see where he ends up out of Paddock Hill Bend. Takes a really wide entry to get a good run out. Bit hesitant on the throttle. Michael Rowe is still there down the inside of Jamie Ward. Oh, Jamie turns in. There's contact. Rowe's around. Oh. It looked like a bit of a kink on the way in. Oh, Julian Noiset's off on the way there.
It's going to be a big row after that one.
Yeah. It's more row your boat across the grass, really. But that was a difficult one to judge, I think, because Jamie looks like he goes to turn in, but then look, there's a sudden move over. Jamie gets away with it, really, because his car carries on in a pretty straight line. Luke Holroyd is now in a bit of clear air in 6th place after gaining 19 spots. Andrew Shepherd, though, he's still up 17 places from where he started. He's on a real flyer.
Goodness me, it's I tell you what, of course, every race with the Gavin Halls does Crime Stoppers, which is analysing incidents and trying to help everybody along. Goodness me, it's going to have more episodes and plot twists than Line of Duty. And he will make them follow the racing line to the letter. The letter.
If I'd have watched it, I'd probably get that. But
We're in one thing. We're interested in one thing and one thing only, and that's bent race cars.
honestly, if we opened a virtual Porsche parts centre, we'd be in the money. Oh, there's that noise again. Now that I'm going to get on a soundboard. Paul Stout, a long spin on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. He's got quite the gap now until João Estevez gets to him. Julian Noiset's just gone off again. Spencer Ayres, though, he don't care. He's 13.7 seconds clear at the front. It's like he's in like solo qualifying again here. Doing a brilliant job is Spencer. Fair play to him. On his way. I'm not even going to say it. Spencer Ayres is currently leading. There's the current fact.
I think the big thing here is that Spencer's pace is very impressive. Not to take that away at all, but he's been a bit like every class winner of the iRacing Nürburgring 24 Hours a couple of weeks ago. Is that I'll continue? Is that Spencer's been the guy that's kept the car clean, the only guy in the class. I think in the entire field that's got a clean race car right now, and he's being rewarded handsomely with it.
He's just gliding away at the front, isn't
nice
he?
And smooth.
Paul Stout's off again. Any analysis, Peter?
It's a crash. It's another crash. Right. Oh.
Yeah, I think he's had. It's taken him a while to get going again as well.
The car actually looks okay.
Yeah, I think he might have just overheated the tyres when he had that spin before, and it's just going to be behaving like an absolute pig now, isn't it, really? It's going to just want to spin around everywhere. Luke Holroyd did the fastest lap of the race last time round. Jamie Ward is now off. Now, in the sim on iRacing, if you're in the actual sim and you're in this session, now there's a shortcut where you can press Control, and then on your number pad you can press 1 and 3, which goes to the next incident. I think you'd probably wear out the number 3 looking through this. But I tell you what, like you said before, the guys are going to be very busy during the interim. But well, it happens, every driver has off nights. It seems like just these guys are all having the same sort of off night, isn't it, really?
All at once, yeah. It's goodness. It's we haven't seen anything quite like this for a very long time in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. It's the Brands Hatch factor, I suppose. I mean, when has there ever been a boring meeting at Brands Hatch in any form of motor racing? It's there's lots of reasons why it hosts the final round of the British Touring Car Championship and the British Superbike Championship, and one of the most important is that it puts up such incredible entertainment, whether that be wheel-to-wheel racing or, if you're into that sort of thing, catastrophic crashes. And there's a walk up there for Ollie Carvedine at Paddock Hill.
Yeah, he's lapped down on these boys as well at the minute. Oliver Carvedine just trying to gain some ground again on them. He's running a different livery by the look of it this time round. I've got him in a SimLab livery with Fanatec branding on it as well, which is quite different to what he normally runs, isn't it? If I remember rightly. It
is, yes. It's normally Red Bull livery that
yes, it was, wasn't it?
Ollie running. He's decided that you should use the proper choice of caffeine for racers, and that's Sacred Coffee for what you drink.
I love it. I just love it.
I had a double Sacred Coffee this morning from my Sacred Coffee mug.
And by Sacred Coffee mug, he means it was actually branded. It's not an antique, or it's not got a holy.
It will one day. It will be.
Yes,
it will be a collector's item.
It will indeed. And Peter MacKay is even more famous than he already is, because honestly, the reception that you get in everything you do, Peter, I must say, I'm jealous. I love it. You've got such a fantastic group of people that support what you do. It's awesome to see it, and especially with the commentary stuff as well. I'm getting a bit soppy here, but you know what I mean. It's just nice to see it.
None of them have lent me a 140 grand car though, so you're one up on me there.
For God's sake.
They go, we know what you're like, no chance you get a shot.
Right. Luke Holroyd 6th. He's gained 19 places at the moment. Can he gain the 20th one and get past Heinz Meyer. Heinz has been very quick, to be fair to him. He's been involved in a lot of the incidents tonight, whether it just be using the front bumper or just giving a tiny tap here or there. But Luke Holroyd, you can sense the patience, can't you? Oh, there goes Heinz. It has to be Heinz. And he's gone around, and Jamie Ward has gone off as well. That, to me, looked like he got a bit of help there, did Jamie Ward? Let's have a look. Never mind. Oh, we did get a little kiss there from João Estevez.
I think João Estevez noticed that he was going to, at the trajectory that he was going to end up pointing the wrong direction, so João just tipped him a little bit to make sure he was pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, he just gave him that little bit of assistance that he needed to get him on the grass safely.
Yes.
Luke Holroyd has actually gained that place. Oh, and Carl has actually corrected you in the chat. Jesus.
That's comfortably more than my flat that I sold last year.
Comfortably more than my house. Wow. Fair play, Carl. I got told it was a little bit less than that. So, that makes me even more... I've just gone a little bit dizzy. Hang on.
You feeling guilty yet for doing donuts in it?
Jamie,
oh my goodness.
Jamie, I did no such thing. Jamie Ward has just gone a little bit dizzy. He was upside down. Let's have a look what's happened here. Oh, Julien Noise goes down the inside, and it's going to be a big hit into the wall for Jamie Ward. And the pair of them end up, well, out of the race, unfortunately. I think the word is attrition tonight. I think we've got 17 cars racing now out of the 25 that started. Although, actually, no, I say that. We've got a number of them still racing. They're just a couple of laps down. We've only got 3 cars that aren't actually driving at the moment. So fair play to them, Everybody's still cracking on with this.
And Carl Hazelton's was a computer breakdown. You were right.
Yeah, like I say, when we have the blinking in iRacing, it is most of the time network related, because if there's a network failure at your end, then obviously it's not communicating to the iRacing server of the session where your car is, what it's doing, how it's behaving. I mean, that Andrew Shepherds is definitely telling us at the moment that he's trying out for Paris-Dakar or Extreme E for next year. But, there's Andrew Soper's had an issue and Holroyd's up to 3rd. But at the same time, if your PC's having a technical issue, or, if maybe your graphics cards run into a problem, or your CPU, something like that is going wrong, then even then, it's still not communicating with the iRacing server. So sometimes it can be that, and if you often see someone blinking and it causes them to go off the track, that's usually a telltale sign that it is a technical, because, if you can't see, for example, for a minute, then you're going to miss your braking zone and whatever else. So a real shame for Carl there, because as he said in the chat, he had fought back from being taken off near the start. But it's sort of what we'd attribute to a mechanical failure on a car or something, isn't it really, Peter?
It is. It's exactly that. It can happen, and it will. Unfortunately, technology. It's brilliant when it works, but on the very rare occasion it decides to have a little bit of a break. It's it can do inconvenient moments at times as well. But whoa, dearie me, Peter Brill's had a spin there as well. Actually. Now, did he have that behind Spencer Ayres? Not sure, but it shouldn't matter. It looks like Spencer's going to take a very dominant win indeed.
Yeah, although you say that, to be fair, Danny Jones has actually halved the gap now. It was 13 seconds before, it's now 6. But that doesn't really matter, because Spencer Ayres takes the win in round 12 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. Very strong drive indeed. Danny Jones, great night of points for him, takes 2nd. Luke Holroyd is once again going to have a very, very successful evening here at Brands Hatch. He'll come away from this very pleased indeed. Extends his championship lead now. Andrew Soper, 4th place, 11 spots gained. Great drive. Heinz Meyer is going to be in 5th. And Amrik Sashdev survives all of that to finish in 6th. And then we've got to wait 16 seconds back for Andrew Shepard, who has got... Actually, hang on a second. It sounded like Andrew was on the limiter there. What you said before about... Yeah, that's broken. Anyway, Gilles Gardner across the line in 8th. Ryan Penny is going to be 9th. But again,
there's another gear in there.
Yeah.
You ever when someone if you let somebody drive your car and it's got 6 gears and they just leave it in 5th the whole time and the motorway and it's... You're going, no one in there. No one in there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There's some limiter bashing that we can get on board with. Spencer Eyre celebrates his win, and understandably so. I mean, what a fantastic drive he had. So much going on in that race for him to survive and get through. Wow.
Now that's a proper donut. That's sort of like,
Yeah,
to get his teeth into that one.
Doing a bit of lawn mowing. Yeah,
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the scene in Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby does like a piece of art on the tri-oval.
Oh, look at this in chat now. Gav saying Andrew probably had a technical as well, or melted the clutch, and Austin said a PDK would have changed gear for him. Oh, flipping out.
What's the fun in that?
Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to comment.
It would have sounded something like this.
Fantastic stuff. Spencer Ayres takes the win, 5.6 seconds ahead of Danny Jones. Luke Holroyd, 2 podiums, a win and a podium today. Awesome stuff for him. Andrew Soper in 4th ahead of Heinz Meyer, with Amrik Sashdev and Andrew Shepard 6th and 7th. Gilles Gardner was 8th, Ryan Penny 9th, Paul Stout 10th. Julien Noizet finishes in 11th position with Michael Rowe in 12th, David Patching 13th, and then Mark Elvin, the last car on the lead lap. Then it was Peter Brill and Ollie Carwadine, João Estevez and Jared Coleman, with Paul Goffin and Gregory Butterworth joining them to finish 1 lap down. Tom Slater 2 laps down, that's big for the championship that. Ralph Mayer finishing 2 laps down as well. Jamie Ward 23rd. Carl Hazelton unfortunately having a technical in that one and not finishing the race. Andrew Marston as well, also losing out early on. Big damage at the start of the race for him. I don't know what we can possibly do off the back of that, Peter, that could be more entertaining, but that was just truly bonkers, wasn't it?
Just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter.
Hey there, buddy.
It's black and white.
It would help if I pressed the right push to talk button, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yes. I mean, we thought the first race the attrition was high, but goodness me, I cannot remember anything quite like it. One to forget for the drivers, certainly one that provided plenty of action for us here on Simracersworld TV. Now up to the pro guys. I mean, I think it proves that even for the pro class guys, it's not going to be straightforward. Brands Hatch is a circuit that bites if you even make a small error.
It is indeed. And it's that time of the evening, everybody, where Peter and I are just going to take a quick, maybe 5 or 10 minute break just to get into the pro class session, and we'll be back with you very, very soon. We'll see you in a minute.
Black and white. Just black and white.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Peter MacKay here on Simracersworld TV for the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship from Brands Hatch. Peter, we've had to sort of collect ourselves a little bit after what happened in that first pair of races there with the club class, but I tell you what, it was still entertaining all the same, wasn't it?
Oh, it certainly was. Yeah, in between all the crashes, there was some good stuff there, and big congratulations to Spencer Ayres. A perfect race, and you know, in a race of high attrition, if you can avoid any incident, you'll always be rewarded with a good result. And Spencer was rewarded with the grandest prize there. So he will be more than justified to be waxing lyrical at work tomorrow morning. He's going to be whistling away, polishing the car.
Yeah, he'll be loving it. He'll be absolutely loving it. But what we're going to be loving is now that we get to watch the pro class drivers as well. They're just out in practice at the moment. You can hear them all screaming their way around the circuit and doing what they do best. Now, this is going to be... I'm really intrigued by what we're going to see here in this pair of pro class races, because we know how quick these guys are. There is a bit of a pace difference between the two classes, of course, hence the split of them, just to make things a little bit easier for some of the club guys and some of the pro guys. You know, they're not tripping over each other, essentially, because that goes both ways. But it's the fact that these guys are going to be so on the limit around here. I think we're actually going to see more people in this just dipping a wheel onto the grass and chucking it off the circuit. What do you reckon?
I think so, yeah. Certainly at this pace, we're really going to ratchet up the pressure and ratchet up the speed, that's for sure. Now, if we can, Chaz, if we could go back to James Cummings, because I have to say he's gone straight to the top of the championship for liveries, because he is running the Dick Barber Racing. The Big Dick was his name, I'm not joking. Big Dick Barber Hawaiian Tropic livery, and that is a very good replica of it as well with the Dick Barber Racing. That is the livery that Paul Newman ran at Le Mans in 1979, and they very, very nearly won overall. Dick Barber, I think it was Rolf Stommelen and Paul Newman. He only did Le Mans once. He found it too much attention on him, but that was when two drug smugglers, Don and Bill Whittington, won with Klaus Ludwig in their Kramer 935. So yeah, the Hawaiian Tropic, and of course Hawaiian Tropic being I think they do suntan lotion and fake tan as well. So they had, on a very, very wet Le Mans day, they had them, should we say, promotional workers in slightly skimpy outfits. So Dick Barber, Big Dick Barber, the biggest racing driver you've ever seen in your life. I mean, honestly, he looked like he'd come out of a rugby front row. Huge, but proper quick. One of the proper owner drivers of the late 70s, early 80s. Brilliant. Love to see that.
And that, again, is just a little insight into the wonderful library that is Peter MacKay's mind. And to be fair, you're right, though. I mean, one of the things that is so wonderful about sim racing is that you can get these liveries on any car that you want to put them on, and you can replicate them so well and just slightly adapt it to the shape of the car you're putting it on. And this is a really, really strong example of that, and I think it looks proper top notch, especially with the metallic red as well. Very tasty indeed. Now then, looking a bit further up, what can we expect other than Jacob Toft's top of the pile ahead of Simon Povey? Mark Baxter Jones is quick again tonight. Austin Greatorex. Now Austin will be probably cursing me if he doesn't have a good evening tonight, because just the other night he was racing in pre-season testing for, yesterday night. There's big slide for Jacob Toft. Austin was racing in the pre-season testing for the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship. Now, we use a car at iRacing that very seldom seen in the racing world. Not many people knew about it before iRacing scanned it, but it's the Kia Optima GTS. Now, Kia developed the car to be a GT car from their Optima saloon, and it went up against all sorts of GT4 machinery from Ford, against the Mustangs, the Chevy Camaros, Porsche Caymans. It went up against loads of stuff, and sometimes won. You know, it went up against Aston Martin Vantage GT4s, and it was quite successful. But it's a saloon car with 375 brake horsepower at the front wheels, next to no aero other than this ridiculously square rear wing on it. But Austin was trying to wrangle that around Alton Park last night, so if tonight doesn't go well, then it's probably going to be my fault.
The one thing's for sure, it won't be Austin's fault. It's impossible. That just can't happen.
We'll have to see how he gets on, shall we? We'll have a quick look at him.
I tell you what else is incredible about that particular car you're mentioning, Chaz, is the only race car with a 7-year warranty. I mean, you can't say better than that.
Very true. Very true. But, I mean, it's truly a balmy machine. If you take all of the wing off it and take it somewhere with a really long straight, like Circuit de la Sarthe, with the huge straights down there, it will hit 175 miles an hour. And I've seen multi-class racing before we had the likes of the Audi TCR car filling up some of the sort of 24-hour series grids, let's say, similar to that with the multi-class. It would actually be faster in a straight line than the GT3 cars down the Kemmel Straight at Spa. If you got it in a bit of slipstream, you would overtake GT3 cars in it. It was that fast, the Kia.
It's actually, I really like it. I think it's a cool car.
Oh, I do. It's stunning.
I actually prefer it to the TCR.
Me too. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the TCR makes a bit of a boring noise. Like it's a great car. It really is a great car. It's well scanned and it looks the part, does the TCR. It's a proper race car. The Kia just looks different. There's nothing else like it in the world, and it makes a great noise. It's raspy as hell. It pops and bangs everywhere, but it just goes like mad in a straight line and then just doesn't turn. It's fantastically hilarious to watch. And funnily enough, actually, one of our drivers, Michael Blake of Simortal, actually described it last night as a psychopathic canoe. Which I have to agree on, because it just is. You point it wherever you want it to go, and if you... that's Chris Byram having a long spin. Stuart Clark goes top of the pile. But honestly, with that car, if you put your foot down and it's pointing somewhere, it will stop turning, and just the fact that you've got your foot down will take over and it'll just go in a straight line. And then eventually you'll arrive at where you are. But, yeah, it's just a truly ridiculous machine. Chris Walsh says, we need a banner up so we know who we're watching. That's a fair point, mate. That's a fair point. But at the same time, you know, these guys all have the same stickers and decals and so on all over the cars. So we can usually just differentiate between what we tell you, basically. But yeah, that's fair enough. If you join the stream halfway through, then it's understandable, mate. So here's Simon Povey.
Now, you do realise that's Chris Walsh of American Bobsleigh Team fame.
Ah, yes. I remember now. Didn't he race in this series not too long ago?
Certainly races with Porsche Sport, yes. But we've got me and Samil Aurora have got a deal that we're going to go in the bobsleigh. Chris doesn't know this yet, but yeah. So we'll be in the middle. So the important parts, the driving and the brakes, we'll get Chris and one of his bobsleigh pals to do that bit, and we'll hang on for dear life.
Yes, indeed. You might
Some say people can't believe Porsche Sport they have a bobsleigh team.
For God's sake. You'd probably have no sideburns by the time you get down to the bottom.
No, that is a disaster. I'm out. No, sorry, not.
I thought you might be. We've got Austin Greatorex. Look at that. Oh my God. Jacob Toft's 0.8 of a second faster than anybody else at the moment.
These drivers with running the 116, they just show off. It's just nauseating.
It's just great.
Too good for their own good.
I mean, to be fair, you know, Jacob has been such a lovely guy since we've been speaking to him in this championship. You know, he's so humble about it. He always sort of recognises when other drivers have done well as well. Even if he's just had a win, you know, he'll say, "Oh, so and so did well." You know, they came up to 5th, and he's got some good points.
Like, how do you know that? You've been out at the front.
Yeah.
I think he's watching the stream. I think he's got that much spare brain capacity. He watches the stream along.
You know what? I'm actually a real sucker for it, but I think it's due to commentary. I love to know what's going on.
Oh, wait a minute. He's dipped the clutch there. What's he doing?
I think he's put it in 6th. No, it's in 4th, 5th, 6th. Now it's down to second, third.
What is he doing?
He's lining up for
He's
a...
cooling the tyres off.
Yeah.
Oh, now that's when you know you're good. When your tyres are too hot, you put too much through them, so you've got to cool them down.
That is impressive. Mark Baxter-Jones
Aye.
in the beautiful 11/10 machine has gone second. Christian Saruta has just gone up to fifth in the Braun GP Mobile. And no, Colin, we do not have Matt Dorrington, I'm afraid. We did say to him in the week that he needs to come back. Now here's a guy we always love to watch on track, Dan Bathy.
Best looking car in the championship, really.
Yeah.
Well, rivaled by the Hawaiian Tropic machine now, of course. But
Indeed.
yeah, Sacred Coffee machine, of course.
Simon Povey's gone second fastest now, just under half a second off Jacob Tofts.
But he's really pushing Lady Penelope on tonight.
He is. Whoa, big drift there through Graham Hill Bend. That was gorgeous.
Sorry, my lady.
Yeah. Sorry, my lady. He'll be.
Didn't know. Is Austin there?
Whoa, big slide from Stephen Harpham as well. Fantastic slide. Really fantastic slide. The Momo Leo Bodner car now. It's got Leo Bodner stickers on the side of it. I just love how these cars look, their body language and the way they just bounce around and they behave. The sim really does, the way it communicates all those little bits of movement to us, it's just so accurate, isn't it, visually? To think that someone else's sim is having to calculate that as quickly as we're getting that information, it's truly bonkers.
Oh, it's good. It is fantastic. I think that's one part. There's every sim. There's quite a few available now. Every sim kind of has their pluses and their minuses, and the one thing I think iRacing gets absolutely spot on is the realism of the body language of the cars. I think that's one thing where they have the rest of the competition well and truly licked. Yes, particularly these 911 Cup cars, the way they travel along is incredibly authentic. It's remarkable. Now, speaking of things that the sim does very well, mimicking track temperature. What track temperature are we at? Because I want to try and give the club class guys a bit of a... No,
24 degrees.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe it could have been a very excessively high track temperature, because if there was an excessively high track temperature, that of course would make the surface more greasy and less grippy, but 24 on the track's not too bad. Yeah,
I mean, I've commentated on races before where we've had over 40 degree track temperatures, which is just... To go out on it is just tyre suicide. You go through one corner and you put a little bit too much angle on or a bit too much lock, and the tyres are gone. The tyres are absolutely gone, and you just float around. Sometimes it's good to have a cooler track, but there is a bit of a middle ground, isn't there? Because sometimes it can be too cold, and you can't get any heat in them at all.
I'm going to say that was the reason why I lost the front in fourth gear on my motorbike in Knockhill. October in the wet. Not wise.
Oh, no. Well, there you go. It was wet. That's
on road tyres.
Yeah, that's...
When you think about it now, you're thinking, you plonker, Rodney.
I would never say such a thing to you, Peter. I would never say such a thing.
You plonker.
We've still got another minute and a half actually left, so I've got rid of the graphics, I won't know. Christian Saruta has done 3, although actually no, everybody gets 3 laps. So Christian's done his 3 laps. I think he's just using this now to at least just get a bit more time in on the circuit, I think. That's pretty wise, to be fair. You may as well. You've got the extra minute and a bit. That's a good lap. High track temps, cough, Carrera Cup, cough, says Chris Well. But, nice slide there through Sheen Curve. That's such a scary corner anyway, isn't it? Look at this.
Get on there.
Oh, yeah. You've got to love it. But that's the thing with this car. When you get used to it, you really can hang the back end out, and it's so rewarding. For a long time, my favourite car track combo on iRacing was this at the Nordschleife, just because there's so many places when you get a really good flow, you're turning the opposite way to every single corner, especially as you just get onto the Nordschleife as well. In that first downhill section with all of the left, right bit, it's a joy round there.
The Hatzenbach.
Yes, that.
And the Quiddle, the Harry Potter straight, also known as the Quiddlebacker hole.
One thing that will always stay with me is standing at the left kink just at the end of the Dottinger Hoe, under the bridge.
Oh, Antonius Bucher.
That bit, yeah. On standing there at night in the rain during the final qualifying for the Nürburgring 24 with GT3 cars. Absolutely flat chat down there. Unbelievable. Jacob Tofts then takes pole position from Simon Povey, Mark Baxter-Jones and Gary Tall. Chaz presses the wrong button at the same time. We then have Austin Greatorex, Christian Saruta, James Cummings, Carl Sharkey. Stop it. Why is it doing that? I'm pressing a button and it's doing the opposite here. We're having issues. James Cummings and Carl Sharkey on row 4. Stephen Harpham and Dan Bathy round out your 10. We'll give you the rest of the field as they slide on through. But another 22 cars to take to this one, Peter. And a wonderfully talented grid here. Any picks that you can see other than Jacob Tott right now? Do you think anyone can beat him?
It's going to be a big ask, but you got to think that Simon Povey has been consistently close. It's not as if that Simon's been back in the mid-pack sometimes. He's always there following Jacob home. So eventually that's got to give, you know. So I think Simon's he's shown so much consistency over the season in the first 10 rounds. And who knows? I think he's got every chance to put pressure on the young gun.
Well, let's see what he makes of it. And Gav's saying, fingers off Alt F4 for this race, please, Chaz. Yes, indeed. And let's hope the drivers do the same. But we'll see. We will see. I'm not pressing any buttons to cause any drama or anything. I should probably do a broadcast without offering any opinions whatsoever, to be fair. But that's not how we do things. We give opinions and we are usually wrong because we're commentators and that's what we do. Anyway, in the Pro class, round 11 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championships third season from Brands Hatch is away, and Jacob lights up the rears off the line. Simon Povey can't quite match him. Look at that, Saruta round the outside of Gary Tall on his way into turn 1. Nearly a bit of contact between the pair of them. Running wide there, I think it was Matt Camilio, was it, potentially? Or was it Ben Simpson? Sorry. It was running wide. Oh, very wide there was Paul Rieger at Druids, but everyone keeping it nice and tidy. Austin Greatorex is the only guy that's gained a position so far. He's got ahead of Gary Tall. Stephen Harpham's moved up ahead of Sharkey, and Elia has got ahead of Dan Bathy, but they're still side by side here, going into Surtees for the first time.
Oh, and Johnny Elia having to give best there to Dan Bathy in the Sacred Coffee car. There he is on the left-hand side of the shot. This is going to get very tasty going down into Hawthorne then. You're going to have bravery like Mike Hawthorne to get through here, and Johnny Elia goes for it and hangs on just, but Dan Bathy's going to go for the cut back into Dingledale. He does. Brilliant stuff there. Goodness me. Oof.
Lovely. Very close to contact. I think there was a tiny bit. But yeah, epic. Really well judged as well. You know, like we saw before when I think it was Andrew Shepherd went off. He knew that Johnny Elia was going to go in a little bit hot. He just focused on his own braking zone, got the car stopped when he needed to, and just went, right, mate, you're going to run wide. And then he lined up the cutback and did it beautifully. But Johnny Elia is not taking this line down. He's trying the same now. Look, he focuses on his run out of clearways, and he's onto the back of Dan Bathy once again.
Yeah, Dan Bathy actually looked like he just dropped the wheel on the grass there as well, and there's a little bit of puff of smoke ahead, and that just takes Johnny Elia's run away, but he has to back out of it. Very clever, live to fight another day. Big wiggle there, going through Paddock Hill Bend from Dan Bathy. He's very late on the brakes. Is he going to leave the door open? He had to gas it up. Oh, these guys are having a brilliant battle. Fantastic stuff. And all the while, Carl Sharkey is scampering away off in 9th position as well, so whoopsie daisy. Got Kershaw. Oh, near. Oh, Biff.
Everyone tries to avoid one another there, and it's all kicking off, really. Stuart Clark is watching Chris Byron go down the inside of Mark Johnson. Byron Crawford was in there as well. I think he was one of the guys that just got caught up by that little bit of a check-up in front of him. There's a bit of damage to Mark Johnson's car as well. He's the one that had the big smack into the side of Stephen Kershaw as he tried to recover. But look at them all together. Just trying to get one over each other. Mark Phillips having a look. Now he's got Mark Bowe behind him. He's going to have Mark Bowe next to him if he doesn't close the door already, but needs to be careful of it up through Sheen Curb. That's such a scary place because you can't see when you go into the corner as Johnny Elia has gone off. You can't see. I was just going to say, you can't actually see the exit where the grass is on the way in. You've just got to judge it from there. Let's have a look what Johnny's done. Oh, he just saves it, to be fair, just has a slide on his own. Easy to do. But now, look, he's right in the thick of it again, Peter.
Yeah, that's that. He's going to be paying for that for the rest of the race. Back in the really mired in the pack now. It's Johnny Elia there. It's actually Stirling's really does egg you on that corner because it's so cambered. You feel you can go in there at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and the fact is you can. Mark Bowe moving up a couple of spots here as well, and we know that Mark's mum, Mrs. Bowe, will be watching. Hello, Mrs. Bowe. Hope you're enjoying the action. And I have to say, I love the green and gold. I love the Springbok colours on Mark's car. And well, it's got two Marks here. Mark Phillips, or Bernie, as we like to call him. Now, I'm not bitter or anything, but I was quite angry when Mark, quite literally, we had a Porsche Cayman race at the Nürburgring a couple of weeks ago for fun, and we're going down the Hatson back, and Mark honestly just full throttled me straight into the wall. And I mean, honestly, and I was actually genuinely quite angry because it was just so ridiculous. And I was like, that's spicy. And it later transpired that he was off his head on painkillers. He'd had dental surgery. He'd had some sort of dental procedure, and he was off his head on painkillers.
Oh God!
So I'll let him off. Bernie, you are forgiven. But you do that to me again, we'll actually no. You just do that again. I'm no defence. Not to a man of your power. Yeah.
I was going to say, Peter will buy the whip oil for you, Mark.
Well, I'll tell you who I won't apologise to is I tell you what, Gavin Hall's brake checked me going up the Kesselchin and caused an absolute airplane accident. I was like, cheers, Gav. Right.
Join us next week for pressing sim racing issues, not with Aidan Millward, but with Peter MacKay. We look back from Jacob Tufts, as we often have the chance to in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, but that's only half a second back to Simon Povey, and then a second back to Mark Baxter-Jones, and then another 6/10 to Austin Greatorex. So the gap is not huge here, but we've seen this before, really, haven't we? The first few laps it stayed a bit stable, and then all of a sudden it has just extended very quickly over a few laps, and that's been it. So do you think we're going to see that again here? Because it doesn't seem to get bigger over this lap.
Well, I think this is Simon Povey doing exactly what he needs to do here. Just run the pace that he can and just keep the pressure on Jacob Toss. And it only takes the slightest little dip. And, of course, that's possible here at Brands Hatch. So doing all that he needs to do at this moment in time. It looks like Bernie's dropped back a couple of places. Dropped back behind Byron Crawford. So he's now had his view blinded of Mark Bowe up ahead.
Oh, Dan Bathy's off. Bathy's off on the exit of Paddock Hill.
He's looking for the espresso bar.
He is. Oh, no. Oh, he's gone off again after this as well, you know. I think probably in avoidance of just everybody. Just trying to let people through, I think. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, he was just letting him by safely, so fair play to him. It's always difficult to do that because, you know, you want to just get on with your race and crack on straight away, and it's a very frustrating moment, so you often just put your foot down in anger, but, you know, it takes a lot of mental thought just to at least think, right, let's not ruin anyone else's race, let's just stay out of the way. You know, I've made the mistake, I've got to, you know, you've made your bed, you've got to lie in it, haven't you, really?
Yeah, you do. That's absolutely right. You've got to try and minimise damage, and the best way to do that is not to run into anyone when running back onto the circuit. Riding on board with Stuart Clark coming up through. Oh, me, lots of smoke up ahead. Now, it's Carl Sharp. Oh, no, Paul Riga. Paul Riga has had a spin at Sheen, and you were mentioning the bravery required through there, Chaz. You're spot on, and no wonder they named it after Barry Sheen.
Yeah, indeed. There's some very very deserved corner names here at Brands Hatch, to be fair.
Yeah.
But that was... It's such an easy mistake to make, that. And I think when you're in a rear-wheel drive car, it's a lot more punishing than anything else. Stephen Harpham is now off at Druids. think he might have got a bit of help there, but it's close here between Mark Johnson, Johnny Elia and Stuart Clark. We were looking at these guys just before. Stuart down the inside of Johnny. Johnny's gone like a very, very long way round there, but he gets a good run on the exit. And these are all of just the last positions in the field here. All of these guys in such a train. Look at this from Dan Batty. Fantastic multi-coloured train of cars. So, I mean, I must admit, we're very spoiled in this championship for liveries, aren't we? There's some wonderful looking cars out there.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's great being able to use the trading paints service, which is a fantastic piece of tech, and you can go on and pick your paints from an almost infinite selection. And a lot of series are now banning using it for some reason, and you've got to design your own one, and that's fine if you're a dab hand at that sort of thing. But here you can get one that's kind of ready made, which is very cool. Like, for example, I love the one in front. Now, I think that is a custom one. The rural, not the urban outlaw, the rural in-law. It locks up there at the 71 of Chris Bowie. Oh dear.
That will have annoyed him a little bit, because it was just a simple mistake to make, and that's the thing, when you are focusing on what the drivers are doing around you, and you're, well, in Bowie's case, under pressure, you can just feel that little bit more on the brakes is available to you, and you just try and push the limits, and then sometimes it just doesn't work out, and I'm afraid that Chris has witnessed that there. Now, the lead gap is still only half a second between Tofts and Povey, and nothing on Jacob Tofts here. You know, this isn't, no offence, lad, but I would love to see Simon Povey take a win, because he's very, very deserving of one, because he's been so fast this season, but he's just had the odd bit of bad luck here and there. I'll never forget the racing that we saw between these guys and Matt Dorrington at Laguna Seca earlier in the season, because that was just mind-blowing, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was superb, yes, indeed. And I tell you what, Tofts isn't getting away. In fact, I would say in the last couple of laps, Povey has brought in a couple of car lengths, actually, and of course, the closer he gets, it's almost like a compounding factor, because the closer he gets, the more he can get that little bit of draft effect. Now, there isn't really that many. See, look at that. You see Jacob Tofts having to move about on the straight slightly to try and break that toe that's there. So Simon Povey absolutely on the case, and Povey 0.2 of a second quicker that time by. We've got a race on.
We have indeed. We've just hit the halfway point on that previous lap. This is Christian Zaruta, just behind James Cummings at the moment. And he's just sort of following along for the time being, just maybe seeing if they can work together and move forward towards Gary Tall. Someone that won't be doing that is Johnny Elia and Byron Crawford, who are both off the circuit, and Mark Johnson's now gone off as well. Oh, that was an unfortunate. Oh, Bombardier indeed. Let's have a look. Oh, we'll come back to that.
Oh dear.
I think Mark Johnson has gone up. Johnny's done it.
Mark Johnson has definitely gone off lots.
Oh, they've all done it in sympathy. And then Mark goes up to the top, and he's done it again.
And it's so tricky now as well, because in the last update, iRacing has, shall we say, exaggerated the amount of smoke that would normally come from a tyre lockup, and it's now, honestly, it's like a Dr. Dre video now. It's just like, where am I going?
It is very, very difficult to see through it. It really is. And I mean, to be fair, even before, it wasn't great. You know, it wasn't hard to end up in an incident, because he just thought, oh, stuff it, I'll go for this side or I'll go for that side. But there's a bit of a flash of the lights from Christian Zaruta. But at the same time, you know, it's a realistic thing, and I think with the world of sim racing, you can get away with playing about with things a little bit. You know, sometimes you might have things a little bit exaggerated compared to how they are in real life for the sake of the sim. You know, if you make it more smoky so that people can't see through it, then you'll maybe deter people from going into an incident flat out. And I mean, we all know that the issue is people in sim racing don't really slow down for incidents.
Older.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, the TCR accident that we saw at Zolder, that was unbelievable. That apparently the gentleman said that he'd had a screen freeze moments before, and that he was driving blind, and it was like, well, you should have been braking at that point then if that was the case, not flat out. But either way, yeah, it's certainly made things a lot harder for people to see through, but I kind of think it's a good thing, really, because it means that you can't take a guess and you can't try and judge where the car is because you've got no idea where it is.
So you're saying you are a Dr. Dre fan?
Not massively, but yeah, you know, you've got to play with all the bells and whistles and the effects and everything, haven't you?
You do. I tell you what, we're getting a great close-up view here from Christian Zaruta's car of the Hawaiian Tropic Dick Barber Racing, and I just want to say Porsche 935. It's not. It's Porsche 911, but even so, it doesn't look good. And gold wheels as well. I mean, full marks. Red and gold wheels. You wouldn't think it would work, but it really does. Oh. Or I think it's Satin Aurum is the Porsche exclusive manufacturer.
As presented by Sean Connery.
Porsche exclusive manufacturer.
With much many
There could be some kinds of presumptions to make those sort of pieces from your Porsche.
You can get Miss Moneypenny's voice on the sat-nav.
Yes.
Christian Zaruta has just made Zaruta has just made an overtaking manoeuvre on James Cummings, and it was a very tidy one in fairness. Just a little bit of a nose, just put down the inside into Surtees, and that's really a corner where you want to upset the driver in front of you and just get in their head and mess with their rhythm, because if you do get Surtees wrong, you lose out so much, not just in the corner, but the run down as well through Pilgrim's Drop, don't you? It's a real important corner on the circuit.
Oh, it's got to be one of the most challenging corners in Britain, I think, because there's so many different lines you can take, and I still haven't quite figured out which one it is. Almost, it's a bit like Sebring Sunset in that sense, that you just can't quite work out what the optimum line is, or I certainly can't anyway. Bit of an argy-bargy going on here, and Baddy and Elia, they're back together, albeit a little bit further down the field than they were initially. And Elia, on the grass. Dearie me, get on there. Dan Baddy goes up the inside into Dingle Dell. This is always sketchy because it's very, very fast through here. And I tell you what, doesn't the road run out so quick here? Elia uses every last millimetre of it. You think, I'm fine. Oh, no, I'm on the grass.
He did well, though, not to actually go off there, because I thought he was going to run a little bit too wide and then lose it on the exit of the corner. But fantastic job from him. Great battling from these guys again, though. Some of the fights that we see in this championship are phenomenal. Look how close they're getting to the white lines, though. These guys are using all of the road, and sometimes a little bit more, but it's great racing all the same. Chris Bowie is just ahead of Paul Rieger, who has been trying to make up a little bit more ground. He's actually where he started now, is Paul Rieger, and he's got a good run on Chris Bowie here. Look at the size of the wing on that car. You've got to love it. Again, puts his nose down the inside, upsets Chris's rhythm. There you go. That's all you've got to do. Just get into the other driver's head, concentrate on your line, and look at this. Rieger's got a long side. Has he got enough of a run to clear him by the time they get to the braking zone for Hawthorn? I don't think they do. I don't think he does, I should say, but he does go around the inside. Chris Bowie concedes there. Now, the lead battle. Very close. Jacob Toffs now only has 0.3 of a second over Simon Povey. Oh, Paul Rieger's just binned it after that. Oh, what's happened, Paul? He's gone back to the pits in anger. Is he just going to clip the gravel or the grass? Oh, he's just lost it through the bounce. Oh, and he's hit the wall with it as well. Oh, that's so gutting, isn't it? It's like, that's the edge that we're talking about here, though. You are literally on the edge. A little tiny moment like that, and that's it, and you're off, and you're out of the race.
Yep, that's at this level, you're having to push that hard, and if you just make that slightest error, this car will rip your head off. It does not give you any freebies at all. There's no safety net of any kind. And that's you know what, that's why top drivers love it, because you really are kept on your game. And this is, I tell you what, Simon Povey, this is an absolutely stellar performance. He is all over the back of Jacob Toss, really putting the championship leader under pressure. And well, we've seen Jacob clear off in the last couple of rounds, but not today. Simon and Lady Penelope, he's wheeling it.
Yeah, yes indeed. Parker on a roll. But this is great to see, though, because sometimes this season, I won't lie, we have just seen Jacob Toft just drive off into the distance, and there's not really been a battle for it. Dan Bathy's just been off as well on the exit of Surtees. So has Johnny Elia. Christian Zarut has also had an issue. What has gone on between... Whoa, Johnny! Big loss of control. Dan Bathy... Oh, he loses it, and then he's corrected it so he doesn't hit Byron Crawford, but he hits the tyre wall instead. And Saruta's had an issue as well.
Oh,
long
that's...
slide. Oh, nice pop and bang there. That sounded fantastic. But Saruta probably won't be bothered by that. But now look, these two are together again. Honestly, they're stuck together at the hip, these pair, aren't they?
I bet they're having a great time. That's for sure. Bet they are having a wonderful time, even though they're right at the back of the order now of the cars running.
However, reverse grid.
Yes, exactly. Oh, Dan Bathy has to give best. He might actually be out of incident points. He might actually have to take a drive through. I'm not sure what the limit might be, but coming then this will be, yes, it will be last lap coming up. So white flag will be in the air for Jacob Toft and Simon Povey. And if you're Simon Povey, you've got to have a go. If you absolutely can, you've got to try here.
Yeah, these guys have got 3.8 seconds over Mark Baxter-Jones in third, so they've pulled away together here. Simon Povey's put on an excellent show. I mean, it's not like Jacob hasn't, but you know, Simon's done really well to stick with him. We all have learned how quick Jacob Toft is so far this season in this car. In the words of John Cleland, the man's an animal, but he's been really flying and it's been so impressive. New to the series as well this season, and he's just done everything right. But now Povey in with a striking chance. He needs to make sure he gets a good run out of Surtees on the power, nice and smooth. Just not close enough to get enough slipstream to get through, I don't think, Peter.
He's certainly running out of opportunity anyway as he comes through Hawthorne. Really fast bend here as well, and then up to Westfield and down to Dingledale. He's running out of opportunities. It could actually be the last corner is the best possible opportunity at Clark's, and you can see Jacob Toft actually running onto the grass here, using every last bit of road. And tell you what, he's really being put under the vice of pressure here, but he is not flinching to Jacob Toft. But here comes Povey in the draft. Is he going to have a look? He's going to have to try. Oh, Chaz.
That was so close indeed. Great try from Simon Povey, but Jacob Toft takes another win. We've got Mark Phillips and Chris Bowie off the road at Surtees. Mark Baxter-Jones finishes third, just ahead of Austin Greatorex. And Gary Tall, very lonely race for him, unfortunately. 6.5 seconds behind the guys in front, 3.5 seconds ahead of James Cummings. And then it's Stephen Harpen just beating Carl Sharkey across the line. We didn't really see much of them, or Ben Simpson. Matt Camilio rounds out your top 10 ahead of his teammate Christian Saruta in the Braun GP liveried machines. And then Stuart Clark is going to come home in 12th place with Mark Bowe just behind. And then Byron Crawford is going to be the next car back, 14 seconds behind. But Jacob Tofts, what an absolute star once again. And Simon Povey, great persistence all the way through that race to stay with him.
Absolutely superb. Yeah, it ran the same pace as Jacob Toft all the way through, kept the pressure on and made it, I mean, really pressured into the final corner there. But Jacob hung on. Reverse grid is a completely new discipline. You've got to get through. You've got to keep the car clean from the very back of the grid, and who knows who might come out on top there.
It literally could be anybody. But Peter and I are just going to take another quick break here, guys, just for a few minutes. We've got I believe a 5-minute warm-up session coming our way. We'll have to just confirm whether it's 5 or 10. I think it might actually be 10. We'll see. No, it is 5 minutes. So just give us 2 of those minutes, everybody. And Peter and I will be right back with you for the final race of the night here on Simracersworld TV. Thank you for your patience there, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Peter MacKay here on Simracersworld TV for the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, rounds 11 and 12 from Brands Hatch. We've had rounds 11 and 12 of the club class, round 11 of the pro class, Peter. Final race of the night, usually the most action-packed, really, but I don't personally think much can match the club race we had earlier.
Well, there'll certainly be a long queue at the parts truck after that after that particular race, that's for sure. I mean, reverse grid races, as we know, always have a higher rate of attrition, but we'll see how Jacob Toft and Simon Povey look to take this race on. It gets very, very busy in those opening laps at Brands Hatch until the field thins out a little bit. So we'll need to see how they approach that as well, because we've seen plenty of times in the opening laps here at Brands Hatch. And I remember British Touring Cars when Matt Neal and Colin Turkington came together, and that sort of flipped the championship on its head. So it can change very, very quickly, especially in that area. Seems to be today where that area coming through Graham Hill Bend, the Cooper Straight and Surtees, that seems to be where a lot of the action is happening.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those very, very tricky parts of the circuit where you've come downhill from quite an understeery corner, but at the same time the car really compresses at the bottom of the hill. So when you do chuck it in, it has a bit of a slide sideways when you get back on the power. You're then focusing on your run into a very difficult corner that's a very long, late apex where you're braking and turning a lot as well. And, so many drivers can get a good run out of the corner before it and then go late on the brakes into the other one. It's like polar opposites in two different ways, isn't it? It's a very strange combination, but a wonderful combination of corners. It's actually quite a shame, really, because when you commentate at Brands Hatch, at the back of the commentary box, there's some massive air conditioning and sort of ventilation units that actually block your view of that entire straight behind the box.
I mean, I tell you what, I would love it if we had air conditioning in the or heating in the Gary Stagg commentary tower at Knockhill. Probably more likely heating. We do have a kind of standing heater, but it's farting against thunder, as they say.
I like that comparison. I've not heard that before. Right then, we have a grid for the final race of the night, everybody. Chris Byram will start from pole position ahead of Paul Rieger, Dan Bathy and Johnny Elia, with Chris Bowie and Mark Phillips up there as well. Stephen Kershaw, Mark Johnson, Byron Crawford and Mark Bowe round out your 10. Stuart Clark and Christian Zaruta on row 6. There's the rest of them, with Tofts right at the back. Some good picks in this one, Peter, to be honest. Near the front, Dan Bathy, Johnny Elia. Who's your money on?
Oh, I mean, spin a pencil and see which direction it stops in. I'm going to go for Dan Bathy.
Okay, interesting pick. But I suppose it's not a bad one at all, really. There's so many people.
He'll have to go and have a sacred coffee, you see, so he'll be raring to go now.
Ah, yes, he will. Now I'm wondering if Chris Byram and Paul Rieger will actually take to the grid here. They may have left the evening out of frustration, which we have seen before, and they are indeed not taking the start. So Dan Bathy will inherit pole. Johnny Elia and Chris Bowie will be right behind him. So the final race of the night is underway. Bowie gets a terrible launch off the line. Kershaw gets away well. And Mark Phillips goes around the outside. We've already got a car off. Mark Johnson way off the circuit. There's a bit of a compression in the middle. Stephen Harpen was in there as well. Ben Simpson. Oh, Johnny Ely's gone deep into Druids. Oh, no, he's looped it. He slammed on and looped it. There's contact with loads of them. Zaruta's off. Harpen's off. This is going to compress a lot down the hill. No, they actually all get away with it there. But Johnny Elia just had a right moment where he realised he'd overdone it, but then as he locked up the rear brakes, the car just stopped dead, didn't it? That was horrible for him.
Yeah, if you're going to spin anywhere, Druids is not a good place to do it, and certainly not on lap 1. Oh, dearie me, it was just a sitting roadblock there. But, considering, could have been a heck of a lot worse. Could have honestly been a blockage on the track there, but most of the cars getting through okay. A little bit of damage there on the quarter panel there of Mark Phillips' car in 4th position, but able to carry on. So Dan Bathy leads. Who tipped him? And Chris Bowie 2nd, Stephen Kershaw 3rd. But our leader, Simon Povey, leading Jacob Toft right now, and they've made some real ground early on.
Yeah, some really good starts from them. Austin Greatrex gained 10 places. He is now ahead of Matt Camilio. But as mentioned in the chat by Matt Dorrington, I was just about to say the same. The fact that these guys got away with that there and there wasn't a monstrous pile-up just shows some of the skill levels you've got here and the judgment from some of these drivers. That was just a wonderful feat of great, fantastic reactions, wasn't it, really?
Oh, dear. Oh, that's a big one.
Oh, Saruta off big time. Big hit into the wall there for Christian Saruta. I'm not quite sure whether he just missed his braking point, clipped the grass. Goes on the left. Oh, there is actually a touch with Gary Tall. Sorry, I was just looking over at the timing and saw him just go way off, but I didn't realise there was a touch with Gary Tall even at the beginning there, so that was one under the radar on me. We've got teammates side by side here, Greater X and Sharky. Two of them racing together consistently. And look at this, Greater X around the outside. It's never well, it's always a bit of a confidence builder, but it's more of a character building bit around the outside there. No, Sharky's around and Povey's in it. Simon Povey with nowhere to go. Oh, he'll be absolutely fuming. Let's see it from Tofts. Oh, there wasn't anything he could do there, was there? Let's face it. That's such a shame from him. Such a shame for Simon Povey. Now Tofts is going to try and move forward. Bit controversial that it was the two teammates of Jacob Tofts crashing into each other that then caused Povey to get caught. Look how close Jacob is to the back of his teammate there. He's not leaving a single inch here, is he, Peter? He's properly going for it. I think we may have lost Peter for a second there, everybody. Sorry about that. Not quite sure what the issue is, but we'll resolve it as quickly as possible. But this is fantastic stuff once again from Jacob Tofts. 13 places gained. Austin Greatrex has gained 11 of them. As through goes Tofts then into Hawthorne. Nice stable stuff, but at the front, Dan Bathy 2.5 seconds ahead of the rest of them. Really flying at the moment. Behind them, Mark Phillips all over the back of Stephen Kershaw as they come out of Stirling's. Oh, a bit of a moment there as well, actually. That's the thing, it's one of those moments where the car can properly step away with you. We're just having a bit of a technical issue with Peter. I think his PC's just had a bit of a moment, I'm afraid. So he's just left to try and get that sorted out and get back in. He's just had an iRacing crash, but I think in the process it's taken his PC with him. Jacob Tofts then, now in the thick of this. There's cars everywhere all around him, but in fairness, we've got cars in a really long stream. Oh, Mark Bowe's off. Oh, Mark off into the wall, maybe just lit up the rears. Easy to do. Gets going again, as Jacob has now gone past Stuart Clark. He's made a bit of progress. Oh, just goes in front of him there into the braking zone. And through he goes. What has Austin done to those rims? Yeah. Intriguing, isn't it? Very, very bright indeed. I think it suits it, I'm not going to lie. I like coloured wheels on cars. I think they look very good. White wheels especially. Now, here's Chris Bowie with the grey wheels on his car. Either that or they're like the brushed aluminium. As Kershaw looks down the inside, a little bit of a touch. Oh, Stuart Clark is off. Oh, and he's around and in the wall hard. That's a lot of damage for Stuart Clark. He's actually been off. Oh, Byron Crawford's off there as well. Jacob Tofts goes along. Oh, no. Jacob's turned Byron into the bridge, and then he hits Stuart. How more of them don't get involved in that? Look at that from... Was that Camilio going through there? Matt Camilio, wow. Oh, that's... I'm not sure who that was on, but look at the awareness there from those guys. That was phenomenal. Yeah, that's true, Luke. That is true. I suppose I can't be forgiven. But look at this train of cars. I'm not sure whether that was a bit clumsy and forceful by Jacob or whether it was over-defensive by Byron Crawford and he just ran him out of room. But either way, it's a real shame. Down the inside on Stephen Kershaw goes Austin Greatorex up into second place now. 17 places gained. Cars all over the shop here. Stuart Clark and Mark Bowe close together, a little bit of a kiss there as they come out of Hawthorn. They somehow get away with it. Mark Johnson has to back out of it as well. He manages to survive. Up through Sheen Curb. Look at the patience that these guys have got here. They may be trying to push hard, but it's just having that ability to just back out for a moment when a battle is getting very close in front of you. It's so important. We need to look at this because Jacob Toft's now coming down the inside of Camilio. Bit of contact there. Now he tries around the outside into Druids. Nearly makes contact again. Oh, Camilio runs him out of road. Toft is off. Back on he goes. Mark Baxter Jones goes through, says thank you very much. I'll take that. That's 15 places gained for Mark Baxter Jones, 16 for Tofts. And just behind, Stephen Harpham and Ben Simpson side by side here. Oh, nearly rubbing arches on the exit out of Surtees. They've got Chris Byram right behind them as well. We need to look forward again because this is getting spicy also. Around the outside goes Mark Baxter Jones. And now Toft's looking down the inside of Camilio. He's got James Cummings right behind him as well. And then Gary Tall also in there. How is Austin in P2 and Jacob P5? Well, Jacob's just been held up by a few things, I think. When there was the incident before as well, I think Jacob took a wider line or went around the outside of the incident, and I think Austin just managed to sneak through down the inside. And he's really been keeping it clean, as we've just had in chat as well there. Jacob has had a few bits of contact moving forward though, which could be seen as forceful, but that's not for me to decide. Look at that from Mark Baxter Jones around the outside of Kershaw. He needs to be careful though in case he opens the door to Matt Camilio. He's then got Tofts right behind him. This is on board with Camilio. And then behind us, hello, there's Jacob Tofts. Now look, he takes a late apex here. Well, I don't think he took much apex at all there, did Camilio? Got a great train of cars, but look at this. Baxter Jones just in front now. On to the back of Kershaw. Tries to go around the outside. Lovely stuff from Mark Baxter Jones around the outside at Hawthorn. Oh, moves over a little bit on the exit though. Makes contact with Kershaw. Camilio's now side by side with him as well. Kershaw's lost out a lot there. Nearly rubbing down through Dingledale up to Sheen Kerr. There is a touch and Kershaw's around. Oh, and he gets collected by Gary Tall, Stephen Harpham and Ben Simpson. Great awareness from Byram to get on the brakes there, but that's such a shame for Stephen. And oh no, oh, he gets going again, and then it's an absolute nightmare. Stuart Clark gets collected, and in that as well is also Mark Bowe. I don't think Stephen knew how damaged the car was. That's such a poor way for that to end. Such a shame. Oh, boys. That is such a shame, man. It could have been a much cleaner ending to that situation there. Jacob Tofts then is now fourth, 18 places gained in this race. Mark Baxter Jones has gained 17. Austin Greatorex 17 as well. Dan Bathy, he may have only gained 2, but it's 2 of the most important ones he'll gain. He leads this race in the Sacred Coffee Machine. Closest 2 cars on track are now James Cummings and Chris Byram. who are half a second apart. Up the hill they go, through Sheen Curve. Through Stirling's, the car really wants to stick through there. It looks like good pace at the moment from James Cummings, catching up to Chris Byram again. Up the hill they go then, towards Druids. He's late on the brakes. Oh, nearly a little bit of contact there, but nicely avoided. Hard onto the brakes he goes. Down the inside into Surtees. Beautifully done. Beautiful stuff. And now he is up into 8th position. Although Chris Byram isn't going anywhere here. Honestly, guys, Peter has had a technical issue, and he's having a bit of a nightmare with his PC, I think, at the second. He genuinely has. There's no such message saying that he's gone to drop one, for lack of a better phrase. But genuinely, I keep seeing him come offline and online again. I'm not sure what issues he's having, but iRacing crashed, and then since then he's not been able to get back in. So he's just trying to sort it out, and he'll be back with us as soon as possible. But for now, I'm afraid, everybody, you're stuck with me. Sorry. So, the question is, can Austin get to Dan? That was the question asked. The gap is 7.7 seconds with 6.5 minutes left to go. Needs to be a very, very big push from Austin Greatorex, but he was only 0.2 of a second quicker last time round. Oh, you lot in the chat are vile. I love it. Love it, boys. Top banter as ever. It's one of the reasons that Peter and I love this championship so much, you know. Such a fantastic, fantastic community behind it. Everybody in Porsche Club GB has been so supportive of it. You can do a really good Paul Smith impression. Oh, no. Now, I've worked with Paul Smith for a couple of seasons now on the World GT Championship, and we've had a very good time of it. I've had to step away from it, unfortunately, because business ting. But it's been a lot of fun. Mark Phillips has been off the circuit. Oh, just touches the grass on the way in, and around he goes. I'm delighted to say that back with us is Peter MacKay. Hello, mate.
You buy these fancy new computers and they let you down on Porsche night. This is not on, Chaz.
Slight technical is one of my favourite phrases at the minute, and it seems like it's quite applicable. But are you back with us in the race?
I can hear your dulcet tones, and I'll be back in the race in a jiffy.
No problem at all. Well, when you get back in, you'll be quite surprised by the order.
Okay.
Yeah, it's moved around a bit. At the moment, Stephen Harpham just trying to catch Ben Simpson, but behind him, James Cummings, Chris Byram, Gary Tall, all in that train. And yeah, Luke's saying that he wants to do a Paul Smith impression and jump in the box. But
that I would like to hear.
Yes, indeed. I think I would agree with that. Sean Gardner in the chat, good to see you, mate. I hope you are well. Well, look at this wonderful view here we've got on board with Gary Tall. There's everyone flying forward. It's just so much chasing going on at the moment. It's a bit tense, really. We'll actually bring up the gaps for these guys. Although we won't have it updating that quickly because that just hurts people's eyes, doesn't it? Let's do that instead. As this is Byron Crawford a little bit further down. But you can see the overall gap there from the race leader. And we've got half a minute between the top 12, and then it's 1 lap from 15th down. But between 5 of them, we've got 1.8 seconds. So it's very tightly packed in the middle, but then at either end it's a bit spread out now, I'm afraid. But only 3.5 minutes left to go. It could all still change.
Good indeed. Goodness me, you aren't kidding. And, well, does that mean that my prediction is still looking good?
It is, yeah. Dan Bathy.
All is not lost then.
6.9 seconds out in front at the moment on an absolute flyer. Austin Greatorex not able to get near him at the moment, but still doing well in second place. Mark Baxter Jones in third, really flying. Jacob Toft's involved in a couple of incidents so far, and not a very healthy front left on that car, but this is where it's all at. As oh no, Mark Phillips and Stephen Kershaw have both gone off at the same time in separate incidents, but this is where it's at, Peter. Look at this train.
Goodness me, we've got Martini, Momo, Hawaiian Tropic. It's like a Porsche livery greatest hits here.
Yes, indeed it is. And then, of course, we've got Chris Akabusi in the middle of it. Chris Byram there in 9th position. A very brightly coloured machine, which we've loved seeing this season. He's had a very lively season, hasn't he?
He has. I noticed that the grass car has been retired after one race. A lot of very special race cars get retired after one race.
Yeah, they do. A lot of them driven by me and into a wall. But that's Stuart Clark just slowing down to let this gang of cars through. All of them together. We go on board with Gary Tall as wide goes James Cummings. But wow, look at Byron, very out of shape at the bottom of the hill. And that was just Paddock Hill Ben biting 2 drivers in very different ways at the same time there. You've got one of them understeering wide over the crest at the top of the hill, and then one of them getting caught up by the compression at the bottom. That shows how savage it is.
Tell you what, Chris Byram did well to hang on to that one, didn't he? That was a tickled moment there. And tell you what, when these cars start to break away, if they come back, oh my goodness me, they bite hard. So yeah, done very well there.
I just love listening to these things. Just all the way up the revs, it's just gorgeous. It's a noise that no other car can replicate, isn't it, really? There's no other car sounds like it at all.
Yeah, it's a classic Porsche flat 6 boxer engine, and yeah, it makes that very distinct noise that if you hear one of these things, you know when you're walking into the circuit and you're like, oh, Carrera Cup's practicing? Yep. You know, there's nothing quite like it.
No, definitely. I mean, and especially, Brands Hatch is one of the best circuits for it as well. I usually make a point of going down to Brands Hatch for the BTCC finale at the end of the year. Even if I don't go to any other race meetings all year, I always make sure that I try and make that one where possible. Obviously, due to the circumstances and it not being at Brands Hatch GP for the end, it was at the Indy circuit. Last year was the first year in, I think, 5 years that I haven't been there at the finale. And the drama of it is just insane. But when you get to the circuit, because of the undulation at Brands, all the noise is like in the crater in the middle of it. And it rises up and almost spills out over the hills around you. And you can just hear everything from so far away. And like you say, you turn up and you either hear the really deep, raspy growl and pop and bang of touring cars, or you hear the flat 6 scream of Porsche Cup cars nailing it around the circuit. And what a joyous sound it is. It's like one of those moments where you just get out and you go, I've come home. But Dan Bathy, what a drive this has been, Peter. I mean, you picked him, and for the right reason, it seems.
Sacred coffee makes you go faster.
And that is the analysis, everybody. But Dan Bathy rounds clearways for the final time, crosses the line and wins round 12 at Brands Hatch. Awesome performance. Austin Greatorex did reel him in a little bit as, oh no, Ben Simpson's off. Ben Simpson's gone off. Greatorex finishes second. Mark Baxter Jones, solid night for him. Third place, Jacob Tofts. Fourth, really strong night again. Look at this lot. Matt Camilio's fifth, but then we've got the rabble across the line. Stephen Harpham, James Cummings, Chris Byram and Gary Tall side by side across the line. Gutted for Ben Simpson, though, who went off right at the end. Let's have a quick look what happened here, Peter.
So this is coming up through Sheens and then into Sterling's, and nothing really Ben Simpson could have done there. You don't normally expect anyone to come up the inside at Sterling's, but as we can see, it can be done.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where you can chuck it up the inside, but it's a deceiving corner, as we discussed previously. You know, it can either go one way or the other. You have either a massive amount of turn-in or a bucket load of understeer, because the camber of that corner really tricks you into thinking you've got the grip. But we have cars still finishing. Stephen Kershaw is going to be the last one across the line. But big moves in that field then. Austin Greatorex, 17 places gained. Mark Baxter-Jones, 17 places gained. Matt Camilio gained 8. Jacob Tofts gained 18. Stephen Harpham and James Cummings gained 10 each. And Gary Tull gained 9. So some real strong standout performers in that one for me. Really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed what I saw of it before my computer decided to have a complete meltdown, and I noticed there's quite a lot of shall we say, chocolate ice cream emojis in the YouTube chat. No, that was not the reason.
Yeah,
it was my computer breaking.
Indeed, I defended that and
Thank you.
Almost to the death. But Dan Bathy takes the win then. Austin Greatorex second, Mark Baxter-Jones third, ahead of Jacob Tofts, Matt Camilio, Stephen Harpham and James Cummings, with Chris Byram 8th, Gary Tull 9th and Ben Simpson rounding out your top 10. Mark Johnson was then 11th, ahead of Christian Saruta, with Mark Phillips a minute and 9 seconds down in 13th. Stephen Kershaw, the last car on the lead lap. Then we have Byron Crawford, Stuart Clark, Mark Bowe, Chris Bowie, Carl Sharkey, Simon Povey, Johnny Elia and Paul Rieger. Some real big names from the championship really losing out there, Peter.
Yeah, that's that could be pivotal for any kind of championship charge for Simon Povey there. That will really harm things. Just as we thought, he was just getting onto the case of Jacob Tofts. It's flipped back on its head again.
It has, yeah. It's really gone quite strongly one way and then the other. And we have our first interview of the evening with race 1 winner, Luke Holroyd. Luke, you must be very, very pleased with how that went tonight, mate. Talk us through it.
Yeah, first of all, I'm never going to look at chocolate ice cream in the same way ever again.
It's your own fault.
Yeah, good race 1. I was surprised actually. I'd not done. Obviously, we have like the fun event in the week before, and it's normally a good chance to kind of judge the pace of everyone. I've just been so busy, so I didn't really have that. So I was kind of just judging my pace off of the other guys who won in Porsche Sport. So yeah, it was uneventful, I guess, race 1, and just managing the pace, and yeah, going from there. I guess race 2 was the complete opposite, but yeah, happy with that, with the points.
Yeah, we've had MMA on the phone. They wanted to sanction race 2, but in fairness, races like that can be exciting because they really test your racecraft, don't they? In accident avoidance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the worst, but it's one of the kind of most carnage we've seen this season. I think this track's probably going to lend itself to that a little bit more. There was one point where I kind of stopped almost, and then still got a bit of contact when I was making my way through the gaps. But it's just how it is. You've just got to take it really steady and just try and score points. It's so hard to. I was surprised to finish so far up actually in race 2. But yeah, just trying to not push too much and just sit on people and wait for them to see if they make a mistake or run a little bit wide, and then make a clean pass. I think you'd mentioned it. I've watched a bit of the broadcast back as well. Brands is such a difficult track. A little bit of a mistake. It's an old school track. You're on the grass, and they're hard to recover in the Cup car. So yeah, again, just taking it steady and trying to score points because it's obviously very close at the top of the championship.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, even after that one, we got sent the club standings, and you are now 30 points clear from Danny Jones. Tom Slater didn't have the best of evenings, especially with race 2. He is now, 44 points off. More than that, 54 points off. So you've really opened it up tonight, and it's definitely worked out for you, mate. So well done from us here. It was another strong evening. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Just all the sponsors as normal, so Strasser, Midas Simulation, Shark E-Bikes, for always sponsoring the team, and thanks to the rest of the guys. It was good racing tonight, so I enjoyed it.
Lovely stuff. Great to speak to you, Luke. Well done, mate, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
You too.
Cheers, mate. Brilliant stuff there, Luke Holroyd a real star in that, and constantly fast all the way through. We speak to the next man, who is, well, in a similar boat really, always quick and always up there. Had a very lively race too. Jacob Tofts, another strong win, mate, but in the first race, of course, this time Simon Povey really kept you honest there, didn't he?
Yeah, it was nice to be followed so closely by Simon again. I didn't get a very good start, so he was able to stay in the draft, but yeah, it was some really good pressure, and I think he got quite close on the last lap.
Yeah, well, we were holding our breath in the commentary box for it, and I mean, this obviously, the circuit doesn't really owe itself to slipstreaming opportunities that much. It's just the run down Pilgrim's Drop, isn't it, really? The rest of it, you just have to be completely on the limit and use all of the road, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes, is it Druid's turn 2? I think you can,
Yeah.
if you play your cards right, you could set a move up going into there by trying to get them to run wide or compromise their exit from paddock. But otherwise, you're right, unless there's a big pace difference or it's maybe the last lap, it's not worth going for a move anywhere else.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drivers tonight just playing it safe. As Luke was saying there, you know, you just got to stay behind the guy in front, and as you've mentioned, just try and put them off and make a mistake. And we saw a lot of that into Surtees because it's such an important corner on the circuit. People would just put their nose down the inside, and then the car in front would just sort of wiggle wide a little bit on the brakes because it's a difficult corner anyway. And then, you know, you've got a nice run on the exit, get ahead before Hawthorn and go from there. But, you know, you've had a phenomenal season so far, Jacob. The championship standings are looking very good in your favour. Do you feel like now, with just a couple of race meetings left at the very exciting Alton Park and Road Atlanta, that you could claim it?
Hopefully, we still have 4 races left, so there's a lot to that could be won or lost. It's really unlucky and annoying that Simon didn't make it past that instant in the second race. I was just able to see that Carl wasn't going in the right direction for a cute right-hand corner, so I was able to avoid it, but he wasn't so lucky.
Yeah, that's the thing. In those sorts of moments, there's not really much you can do around there with the amount of momentum that you're carrying, and I mean, especially in this car, you know, it doesn't react well to very sudden changes of trajectory or sudden input changes, does it? You've got to be very smooth, and you've got to baby the car around the corners, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, this track was a bit better on the rear tyres overheating compared to Zandvoort, but it was, if anything, a tiny bit front limited, just if you're pushing a bit hard or stuck behind the car, then they'd overheat a little bit easily. But as long as you're smooth with your inputs and able to control that, then it doesn't become too much of a problem.
Well, it certainly looked like you managed it well again tonight, Jacob. Very well done from us. And before you go, do you want to give a quick thanks to anybody?
Yeah, thanks to My Dash Simulation, Johnny Moore Watches, Sharky Bikes, and Porsche Sport. And just quickly, apologies to Byron. I think I took him out in the second race. I just didn't back out of a gap on the straight.
Fair play, buddy. Fair play. Well, hopefully Byron has heard that, and fingers crossed. If you do have a chat, it's an amicable one. But we know how frustrating those moments can be. But fair play of you to apologise on stream, buddy. And thank you for talking to us. And we'll see you at Alton Park in 2 weeks.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Just very briefly before we go to to Dan Bathy, Johnny Elia said his plan was to be first into Druids, and he managed it, but then he ended up last coming out of it with the spin on the first lap. That's classic, absolutely classic stuff. And what was classic in that race was Dan Bathy getting a win at Brands Hatch by a considerable margin. Dan, some people would probably say, oh, he was near the front of the grid anyway, and you know, some of the guys around him weren't quick enough, but a win's a win, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, it's not how I wanted it to go, even though a win is a win. I messed up race 1 completely, and yeah, but it did put me in a good position for race 2. So no, I'm happy. Just frustrated with race 1, really.
Yeah,
that's where I want to do the winning, really. So, but yeah.
It's a nice recovery of championship points, I think, is the best way to put it, because when you have to sort of balance out your evenings, don't you? Because even if you have a poor race 1, you can still sort of pull it back in race 2 sometimes, can't you?
Exactly, yeah. And, there's been times when, race one's not gone my way through not my fault. So I suppose it kind of it does even itself out throughout the season. So yeah, no, I am happy.
The phrase is, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, I think is...
Yeah, I'll take that.
one of my favourite phrases at the minute with the amount that goes on. But Alton Park next time out in 2 weeks, a very similar track to this for some of the fundamental reasons of it's very unforgiving. It's grass with close walls on the outside of the racing surface. You've not really got much runoff. It's quite harsh on 1x penalties as well. What do you make of it?
It's one of my favourite tracks, to be honest, in real life and in the sim. I mean, last time out, I got 2 really good results, which I think will be tricky to replicate, to be honest, this time. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. The Alton and Road Atlanta are my 2 favourite tracks.
Yes,
so,
good choices.
Yeah, so hopefully it can be a strong end to the season. And I'd like to be mixing it up, sort of, in race 1 with the sort of in the top 5 if possible. So I just need to sort of put more practice in and try and get to grips with this setup. Really, I'm finding it really difficult to sort of. I've kind of lost a lot of time, I think, from last season. So I need to try and kind of gain that back, really.
Yes.
So practice.
It's a tough thing to claw back, because if you feel like subconsciously you haven't changed much but the pace has dropped off, it's a difficult thing to assess, really. And I feel the pain. I've had a few moments where I'll be going well for a while and then something would have changed and I just lose all pace and confidence, and it's just like, what's happened? And it's tough to get back in the rhythm. But I mean, hopefully tonight is a confidence builder and we can see you put in some more strong performances before the end of the season. But before then, is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to while we've got you on stream?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to my sister, Emily, because she always gets bundled in with family and she had a go at me. So, this is just to Emily, my sister. So, hope she's happy now.
Good evening, Emily. We hope you're enjoying the show. But thank you very much, Dan. Great to speak to you, mate. Well done on the win, and we'll see you at Alton Park.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Cheers.
it. Thanks.
Cracking. Well, there we go then, Peter. Another very action-packed night in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. Dan Bathy, Jacob Tofts, Luke Holroyd, and, of course, Spencer Ayres taking 4 very deserving victories there on a night where survival of the fittest was one of the themes.
It certainly was an incredible rate of attrition there at Brands Hatch, and heading on to Alton Park, well, a bit more of the same, isn't it? It's a really tough racetrack. But that'll be fantastic. There's good racing always at Alton Park, so looking forward to that. And what a dream night for Porsche Sport. Victories in Pro and in Club. And I noticed the Shark e-bikes. Is that because they're made in Yorkshire?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm wondering if we've gone fishing here to get a response before the stream ends. But we'll see in the Discord, I suppose. But thank you very much again, Peter. Always a pleasure to work with you, my friend. And I thoroughly look forward to these Wednesday nights. And thank you to everybody for watching. It's been another amazing evening in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. He's been Peter MacKay. I've been Chaz Draycott. We wish you all a very, very good evening. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Alton Park. Good night, everyone.
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing. We're flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're invited.